Okay, good afternoon, folks. Hope everyone is well. Karina, good morning to you. Happy New Year. Another year together. I had a quiet New Year, actually. We actually didn't go out, me and my wife. We stayed in the end. And I didn't drink much. We just weren't in the mood. I think we were just kind of tired and, you know what it's like, the stress over Christmas of all the spending and all that. So we just kind of had a relaxing night in, actually, watched some sort of TV and didn't really drink much, neither of us, so it was quite relaxing night. So the new year begins. So we're a Friday today, aren't we? I'm pretty sure it's Friday. It's the last trading day today before Monday when it all mainly kicks off. Yeah, it is Friday. So I've got a holiday coming up as well soon. Later on in the month, I think there's a US holiday, isn't there? I think so. What have we got? We've got a little gap up this morning, or overnight rather. Market is open. Okay, so not really much has happened. We've had this leg up with a break, couple legs up to a new high, a little bit of sideways. So 1, 2, 3, possibly a triple test to go short here. There's a lot of orders down here. We'll have a look. Let me have a look. So possibly a triple test, depends how you look at things. There is a bearish bar there, but it's 20 ticks. It's a little bit too early. It's a little bit choppy, so you've got to be a little bit careful here. We'll see what happens. Could do either, or we've had a little channel down here with a break and a new low. We've had a triple test here. So would I want to go long here? I don't really know, to be honest with you. It may push up, it may not. There's certainly going to be some liquidity maybe here. But a lot of traders trade these open range breakouts, don't they? So you never know, it's going to trap a load of traders and then decide to drop like a stone. There is a lower high there. That's very tempting, that is. But it's still a little bit early. So I'm going to sit tight here. Let me have a look. It may work, but it's a bit choppy, so it could catch you out here. So there is a second entry long. Probably a failure might be a better option. Trouble is we haven't got much room to the lows, have we? Or have we? It hasn't triggered anyway. I'd have preferred the second entry long. It may work. It probably will, to be honest with you. There's a strong bull bar on my main chart, but if we had a failure here, that wouldn't be a bad idea. Because we had a breakout which failed. So, yeah, it's broken below that bull bar. So I had my suspicions. I didn't like that. The bar was no good anyway. You've got to wait for the failure, really, which unfortunately we didn't get. If you look on this, the second entry long never triggered. But that lower high did work nonetheless. Little Hammer, how you doing, buddy? But it's a bit too close to the open. What is it for? It's not a huge risk. It's enough. It's 4.5 point risk. I think it's a little bit. It's one of those things, isn't it? Sometimes they just work. But it's a little bit too close for the open to me. In fact, that actually doesn't look terrible, does it? So maybe the trouble is you've got to be out before the lows. I don't know how much space there is down there. So if we get in here. It's pushing it, isn't it? But it did work anyway. So we've had a leg down, a little bit of sideways, another leg down. More of the orders were down here. As you can see, these 3 levels I put here all got taken. So perhaps it wasn't a terrible trade. I just think sometimes it's a little bit too close to the open. Beach Bum, how you doing? Speedy, how you doing, buddy? Happy New Year to you, mate. Happy New Year to you. But it's just a little bit uncertain there. Sometimes it'll do that when it opens. It'll trap you. We had a channel with a break, 2 pushes, 2 and up. We had a higher low there. That probably would have trapped some traders going long. How big was the bar? So it was 6 3/4 points, and it went up. You'd have got a 1.25 at a push out of it, and all of a sudden it turned and down it came. So that's the trouble with the, you know, you may have argued 1, 2, 3 triple test, but that's the trouble with the open. You never quite know. We get this kind of open range thing. Russell, how you doing, pal? So it wasn't fantastic here. The lower high didn't look too bad, actually, and clearly worked. I don't know. I'm just a little bit skeptical that first minute or so, because you never know. Sometimes it will trap a bunch of traders and stop you all out, but it worked nonetheless. So I wouldn't be surprised if some people took that. Let me have a little look. Yeah, I think it. I can't see any trades that people took. Let me have a look. No, I can't see anything. So I think people left it probably sensible. It's a little bit too early to jump into trades around here. Although it didn't look too bad on here, you could argue there's a triple test there, followed by a lower high, and it did work. We had a little bit of pullback, but it came down nonetheless. So yeah, pretty quiet New Year for me. Me and my wife just stayed in. I think we were in bed about 10:30, I think. Mind you, Christmas is quite stressful anyway, isn't it? So sometimes the eating and the drinking you've done most of at Christmas. Sometimes New Year you're just kind of exhausted, aren't you? So we didn't in the end. My wife had a couple. I think I had one or two. I think, well, on stream, I think I had 2 doubles, I think, and then I had another double a little bit later, and that's all I had for the rest of the evening. So what do we expect here? So between 20 and say 23, between 20 and 23, there are sellers. So let's say around about there, which you kind of expect if we get a pullback. Now, is this going to come down and fill this gap, test these overnight lows? Quite possibly. We've pushed up and cleared this area, I think. Let's have a look. Yeah, we have. So we've pushed up. We didn't get to the top here, but we did clear these levels. So there was a level there. It's weird, isn't it? If you look at these orders, where I put this bunch of orders, see how it's bounced and it's got close to it there. Same again, bounce, bounce, and it's going up and down here. So we had that push up and we had that bounce around here. So if we can get a second entry short here, that might not be a bad place to go short. But we need a decent setup, something that looks strong. I'd need to see some strong rejection from here. It'd have to be a lower high. It's only a first entry, it would be. So you can see these orders around here. There are some at 30, which are there. There are some at about 32, which is there. So it may come up to this level. It depends. If you get a decent enough setup, as we're in this level there, traders may just short that. Now, on my second chart there, it's only a first entry, so there's nothing I can do. So I need to wait for a second entry there. So where is it likely to go if it does continue down? 910 are some orders, which is down here below price, which is always a good thing. So see if we can get, it's definitely pitching in that right area. We'll see. Now this channel has broken and made a new low, so you can't just decide to jump in here short. It may decide to rattle around here and go up. So we'd have to either get a failure to trap some traders up there. There is a higher low there, so we may get a second entry short. There are orders up here, not a huge amount. See if it stops out that bear bar first. Right, I've got to be careful shorting here because it's a bit congested. We've got a leg up. We could trap, there could be a double trap here. We could trap the bull bar and push up. So there's that bull bar, triggered. Sorry, the bear bar. Let's see if it triggers this bear bar. We could get a second leg up, see, because there is still orders up here. If we get a lower high, that's a better option, but it's a little bit congested here, so I'm going to have to just sit tight. You still got to be careful here. It is a second entry short, but it's a bit congested. There are orders down here, but there are also orders up here, so there's always a possibility we could trap shorts and push up for a second leg. So I'm just sitting tight at the moment. I don't think it's the worst trade in the world. But a lower high or failure would be a better option. We could, there's a double high, a double top there, so you couldn't recount that. So if we get a bullish bar that triggers here and retest this area, we could go short there. I'm just going to get an order ready just in case.
Order submitted.
So if we can get a bull bar here and touch this here, maybe we may trap some longs there. I don't think we're going to, though, to be honest. We've been up here 4 times now, so I think this is probably just going to go down. We could do about that. Okay, we have got some news. It is low impact news, so I don't expect it to do much. But I've started using it for the CL chart because we do get some oil news, which is not high impact but can change the direction of it pretty rapidly.
Order cancelled.
I don't think this is going to come back. I just don't see how I can take a trade there, in all honesty. It's a bit choppy. It looked a bit better here, but you just never know whether we're going to have a leg up. See, I can see orders in this area, so we could still have another leg up to this area. So you've got to wait for the lower high, in my opinion, or certainly for me, I have. Happy New Year, bud. May your dreams come true. Let's hope all of our dreams come true this year. My experience of trading is every year gets better for everybody. You can't sit in front of these charts day in, day out and not improve. It's an impossibility. Someone said nice second entry long here on a 10,000 tick chart. Lucky they didn't go long. Because that would have trapped you. That's the trouble there. I like the fact that it did come down and trap that bar, but there could have been a double trap. You never know where they're going to go. I think it's probably come down a bit too far, but I couldn't have taken that trade because it is a bit congested. And then when we move down, there's not much room left to the lows, so you've really got to leave that, I think. So where is this going? If this continues down, you would expect it to fill the gap. But we need something a little bit more concise there. Yeah, I can only see one trader that took a trade there on this second chart. As I say, the second chart looked a little better, but it's still a little bit square, so you never know whether this is going to push up for a second leg. We have got orders at 210, which you can see down here, so I think it's likely price will push down, but we're not going to get an entry unless it comes back up and tests this area again. I don't think there's any type of a larger channel there. No, there isn't. Well, there may be. It's possible. But you'd have to come up here, wouldn't you? So it's possible. It's possible. Tell you what we'll do. We'll just clear that. Clear the colour and call it an area of interest. We've definitely got orders down here. So if we can get something here, ideally, I'd like to test this area. So where have we got sellers here? 25 and 23, which is there right at the top here. Now there's liquidity here, so see how high this thing goes. If it can get into this area, take out that liquidity, it may confirm this bigger channel. I'm seeing one or two others with this now, so maybe it is. But around this area, let's get rid of this now. Around this area, there are sellers, so we'd need a little bit more of a push up. there's a big black area around here. So any movement now in this area, you can see this black area really is going to need to be from the aggressive buyers and sellers. If we can get a second push up here, we may get something yet. We've got to get into this area for me. It's not a huge amount of sellers there, but it's enough. Let's push that up a bit there. That bottom fits much better now. That looks like one leg to me. Well, you could argue it's two, but I'd have to treat that as one, I think. Really, you could go like that, but it's only really 2 bars. It's on here. It looks like one channel, so you have to be a bit careful there. So it's going where I expected it. It hit that level. It's hit this level. There are more starting to move up there at 30, 930, and possibly a bit higher, which is, it's quite a way up, that is. Now, if this is a channel, I wouldn't expect it to get there. Stuff I do just at the moment. I don't know what happened there, but 21. Not sure what happened there. Those orders seem to shift there. In fact, I think that's probably why they've been taken. That's why. I prefer a triple test here. 1, 2. Let's see if we get a triple test. Let's put that there and just change it. So first attempt, second attempt. See if we trap some longs here. That would definitely be a break of the channel and a new high. If we can trigger up here and come down really bearish quickly, that would be a good setup in my opinion, but it doesn't look like it's going to. There is a higher low there, and that looks like it's pushing up strong. Oh, well, there you go. Now, what could have caused that? I did not expect that, but that is 2 legs up. I mean, there'd have been liquidity there, but not that much to create a 27 tick move. That's a little bit drastic for me. Daryl, Happy New Year, pal. Albert, Happy New Year to you. Trade the 1 leg pullback. Yeah, if you'd have traded that, would you have got anything? Nothing I'd have done here anyway. I mean, that thing's tearing up, isn't it? Yeah, not for me. I didn't expect that, to be honest with you. But you may argue, if you pattern traders out there may say that's a bull flag. Has it come down a bit low for a bull flag? But it's certainly acting like a bull flag, isn't it? Brant, how you doing, buddy? Bounce perfectly at 60%. Did it from this move up? Did it? Yeah, it looks like a. Well, I mean, we don't generally follow bull flags, but we know what they are, don't we? Maybe it's something to do with that. Probably that isn't valid anymore, I don't think. So we've got a channel down with a break and a new high. Attempt to push up, which failed, and then eventually it took off. I was hoping with that bull bar there and this channel to push trigger above it and come down sharp. If that would have happened, then I'd have jumped all over that shot. I am new to this 1-legged pullback, but do you trade different strat? Yeah, I don't trade 1-legged pullbacks. It's got to be 2 legs. Market generally tends to move in 2s. So before I go short from a downtrend, I look for 2 attempts to push up, which is really kind of a second entry. first entry, you can get trapped. Second entry, much more of a chance it's going to work because you're trapping some bowls there. There's a first entry. What happened? Pushed up. Luckily, you didn't get stopped. But there's a second entry. And what are you doing? You're trapping those balls. There's a higher low there. And it came down, pushed below here, and then turned. I didn't take it because it was a little bit congested. If that bar would have been a little bit more bearish, I may have had a go at it. But the safer option for me was a lower high, which unfortunately we didn't get. But that bar there triggered. Fortunately, you survived. Probably because it's quite a bearish bar and it had pushed above the EMA and then rejected. So that's probably why that bearish bar didn't get stopped out. Sometimes if it's a strong position, and that is about as close in and around the EMA as you can get, we've clearly pushed above it and then dropped below. So that's, I guess, is why that didn't stop out. There was enough where's this thing going? Something's happened in the news, I'd say, to push this up strong like that. It's just can keep going. What tick chart? I trade the 2000 tick chart. Now, the 2000 tick chart, from my understanding, gives a little bit more detail. Now, if you are new, I'll show you where I learnt this style. And you're in for a treat. Now, if you are new, this guy teaches price action. He's been trading for donkey's years, but it's incredibly cheap. You won't find anything this cheap. So, see if I can find his website. Where are you, Mac? Give me a second. This is where I learnt mine from, if I can find him. I'll find it. Oh, here we go. Okay, this is the guy I use. I started following this guy a little over 4.5 years ago. He's got videos going back 13, 14 years. Oldest, there you go, 14 years. That's his website, and he charges a grand total of $125 per year. So you won't find any type of mentoring or trading system that teaches you for $125 a year. That's, I mean, it's incredibly cheap, that. And there's dozens of videos on there. There's all sorts of bits of information and tools on there. But if you want to learn price action, I would absolutely, I mean, Thomas Wade's okay, but he charges 4 times the price. So I'd always recommend Mac first. There are some things about Mac's videos that I kind of disagree with, but as an honest guy that charges a very small amount, and certainly experienced guy, I don't think you're going to find anything better. As I say, $125 a year, that is ridiculously cheap. You won't find any type of mentoring anywhere near that price. And he's an honest guy. Don't to pay. He have free on YouTube. He shows you the trades, but this explains a lot more about how to read the charts, how to do it. So if you're going to trade Pats, you need to be a member of this, in my opinion. Otherwise, you're not really going to fully understand it. And then obviously you've got to go out into the big world and then kind of apply what you've learned, to the context. And that's where the real kind of work begins. And if you're quite new to trading, don't underestimate how difficult it is. It'll be the hardest thing you've ever done in your life, that much I assure you. It'll take you a fair few years, if I'm honest. I would say realistically, you're looking 3 to 5 years to make consistent money. Some people take longer, some people may shorten it a bit, but you're looking at quite a while, if I'm honest. So we've broken the overnight highs. Do I want to trust this and go long here? Not necessarily. I'm just not sure what I'm thinking at the moment because we've pushed up. I mean, we may end up ranging now. It's hard to say, but touch, touch, touch. It's not too bad. We got a channel down there with a break. I certainly want to be going along here at the moment, but you don't know whether it's tested this high and then it's going to come down. It's hard to say at the moment. I'm not sure how I feel about things. So when I'm not sure, I just sit tight. So where am I looking? There are buyers at 27.5, which is a fair way down here. There's going to be liquidity here and here, so that may come down. And there are buyers at 25, so there's still traders willing to go long here. So reference sellers. There are sellers at 35, which is here. So there are sellers thinking this is on its way down. I'm not super sure. If that channel's valid, we've had a break, it may push up and test the highs. But if it's not valid, it may trap some long traders and then come down. But at the moment, I don't know how I feel. I can see a few other traders with that channel. We got a touch, and a touch. I can take that down a little bit and bring that up a touch. That'll make the tops fit a little bit neater. In fact, there's a possibility we haven't even had a break there. Now we probably have. Touch, touch. So it's not super clear, so I just sit tight. I'm never in a rush to take a trade. I'm happy just to sit and wait. Now, there is a higher low here. My guess is you're more likely to get trapped, and I'll tell you why. There are sellers there. So if you push up, you may hit sellers, and there are buyers down here. So my guess is this is going to trap some longs if this finish bullish. Now, it could be completely wrong. It may go long, so you obviously got to make your own decisions. If you like the long, then go long. My guess is it's going to trap you. But I could be completely wrong, and it's quite a big bar to take a risk on, in my opinion. There are orders up here, but you see those orders that they're written now, that red line, there are sellers, and it's taken them sellers. Now, there are some a little bit further up, but my guess is I wouldn't take this because we've got a channel down here with a break. We may get a second entry short trap in longs. I'd like it to push above that bull bar, but it may not. See those sellers getting quite strong there, 37.5, so that may go up. It's always possible. There are some at 40, which is above the highs, but for me, I'd rather see two legs down. So look at that already. We've got a strong bull bar, and then look what's happening. As I said, my guess is that's going to trap traders. Now, fortunately, from a Pat's point of view, it didn't trigger, so you probably wouldn't have taken it. But for any other trader who just decides to buy there, they've likely got stopped out. You get to spot those. I don't like that new uptrend. But yeah, I'm not a massive fan of it, to be honest with you, which is why I've just kind of left this alone. We're bouncing at the same level as this, so you don't know whether we're going to end up ranging or what. So there is a failure there. Second entry short. Do I want to take the failure? Not really. Because we haven't made a new low for this micro channel. So I think if it finishes strong, it may get above this level, but I don't know how much further, so I'm not taking a trade. It's a bit congested, but we've got a leg down, a couple of attempts to push up. It's more likely going to come down here. So we've got sellers there, quite strong sellers before the highs, and we've got strong buyers down here and down here. So my guess is it's more likely going to come down to this level, just based on what I'm seeing on Bookmap. But ultimately, you never know if buyers like this, aggressive buyers may jump in, but it's a little bit sideways. So for me, I'm just going to leave this. Now, there is a failure here on the second chart, but I don't like it. I don't like the bar. It's not strong enough. It's a bit choppy. So when it gets a bit choppy, it gets a bit trappy. So ultimately, you never know. It may go up. The worst, shittest trade in the world can sometimes work. But this is just risky for me. It's choppy, and that's prone to just moving up quickly or moving down and trapping traders. So I'm staying well away. What I will say is there's buyers, sellers above and buyers below, so it's probably why it's going a bit sideways. It's kind of getting pulled up and down at the same time. So look on this second chart now. If you went to buy there, all of a sudden you'd be thinking, have I made the right decision? It still may go up, but my guess is it's probably going to come down for a second leg, or at least a break. There'll be liquidity here, probably liquidity here, definitely some there. So my guess is it's going to come down below there, but there is an even amount of, in fact, looking up on here now, if you look at 37.5, there's now 543 contracts. So my guess is it's going to push up now. 100%. Let me have a look. 27. Now there's buyers at 27, which is there. Can you see those orders? And now those aggressive buyers there, they're showing a few seconds later. But I still think now it'll hit that 37.5 level here, just purely and simply by this 540 odd contracts there. And then 129 at 40, and 40 is above price. So it is acting like a channel. A couple of attempts to go lower and now push up, but there's just no setup for us here. Here, you may argue there is. I don't like it, though. It's a bit wicky and a bit sideways. So, okay, so it's hit that level there. So it's absorbed them 500 odd contracts. Now, there's people selling there. So 1, 2, 3. We've had 3 attempts, so it may come back. But there are a few more sellers above the highs. So as it's come this far, it's more likely going to hit them sellers. Now we've actually made a new high there. So if that is a channel, we've had a break of it and we've made a new high. So it doesn't necessarily need to go higher. It may just decide to turn. So there's contracts for buyers at 27.5, which is there. So this may just go a little bit sideways now. Maybe it is a channel. It's not the best looking one, I will say. Okay, so you're going to see aggressive sellers now popping up here. See them? All of a sudden they shut up there. There's very, very similar amount of buyers as well. So buyers are trying to prop it. You see those aggressive sellers just sold there. We had that quick shove down. But the aggressive buyers are creeping up as well. So they're trying to hold this and likely push it a bit higher. So as I said, when you've got sellers up here and buyers below, this movement here in this darker area is very much kind of controlled by aggressive buyers and sellers, and you could see them in play there. Get a quick sell off that bar. I don't know, what was it? 15 ticks, maybe something like that. But then all of a sudden, you see the aggressive sellers jump up, and all of a sudden, the aggressive buyers jumped up just behind them. So, and there are buyers at 32.5, which is there. So there are buyers trying to push this thing higher. There are sellers there at 40. So buyers at 32, buyers at 27.5. So it's hard to say what's going to go on here now. We've had a break. We've had one push up. We may get a second push up. So buyers at 32.5. So we may get a couple of legs down to this EMA. And then move up, or it could come down. I don't know at the moment. I wouldn't trade here at the moment. Buyers down here, sellers up here. It is doing a little bit of sideways. I couldn't tell you whether it's going to go up or down. We've got even amount of buyers and sellers above and below, so it may come back here and take off, or it may continue down. Just looking at the CL chart as well. We've had 2 legs down. Most of the tick actually. Yeah. Channel down there with a break, 2 pushes to a new lower retest. I drew this just to see if there was something a little bit slack there, but we've made two legs down now. So we've actually broken, I don't know what day that was. Guessing it was last week sometime. 7. Let's go for 12 days. That day was 26, maybe 27. I don't probably 27th. We've broken the lows of the 27th. So what do you call that? Weekly lows, something like that. So it may decide to move up now. I don't know. Maybe it's possible. I got no idea really, but there's nothing I could do there really. So it hit those buyers. Now this may just be doing a bit of this sideways stuff. There is a second entry long there. Well, possibly. See how it forms. Trouble is, we've got buyers at 27.5, which is below all this, and we've got sellers at about 38, which is there. So you don't know if it may trigger, it may come up a bit and then push down for a second move. So there's not really much I could do here. If this is going sideways, going long right in the middle of it is risky as hell. So I'm just sitting tight at the moment. As I say, in fact, we've got 492 contracts at 37.5 to go short, which is there. So it may push up a bit. There's sellers there, so this thing may come down a bit. That doesn't look terrible. Trouble is, by the time this is finished, you're at the bottom of the channel here anyway, I think. So nothing you can do here, really. I mean, look, see what I mean? Can't take a trade. If there's a range down there, like, channel down there, you can't really go short right at the bottom. It'd be like going long up here. You've got to wait for that pullback. Whether we get it or not, who knows? There's liquidity here and here. You can bet it. So, well, there you go. It may just decide to yank down and move below that. It's gone there. That has as well, I think. Yeah, so it's taken out liquidity here and here. So it may pull back a tad now. So sellers here. My guess is sellers are going to start to appear around here. I'm going to put that there at 30. Let's put that about there. My guess is we may get some sellers. It may be a bit lower actually. As price comes up, this EMA comes down. So 33.5. Let's see if we get sellers starting to appear. Okay, they are starting to appear at 32.5, which is there. Now, if they like this channel and we get a pullback, you're going to get sellers going in there. I won't be surprised if some appear a little bit higher up as well. Buyers at 25, which, oops. Buyers there, quite a few. So we may end up just ranging here. There's always a possibility we end up doing something like this. If I put that there, we've had a small breakout there. If I bring that down to there, we've had a small breakout there. So that would kind of Makes sense. Let's make this a little larger. So a few touches here, a couple of touches here, very small breakout here. Now, after this move down, small breakout there. Often we get the same at the top, which looks like we have. So there's always a possibility this just may be ranging. So if we can get a couple of legs up here to pick up some of these sellers, we may capture some, a little bit of a move down. At the moment, what I might have to do is take that to there. I still like this channel, but trouble is if it drops out the bottom, to adjust things. So that looks okay so far on my second chart, but we need the pullback to start kind of now. So buyers, strong buyers around the 22 to 25, which is 22 to 25. Okay, buyers there. Change the color here, otherwise that's going to get confusing. Sugar. Well, there. Okay, so there are buyers here. And that slipped down straight into there. They're starting to, oh no, 22. Yeah, they're starting to get eaten up now. There's still a few more here. It could go down a touch more. It is. Okay, so it's eating all those buyers. Now let's see what happens. We could adjust that to like that. What does that look like? It's not too bad. Maybe it's a triple test. Maybe a second entry long. It didn't trigger. Maybe a triple test, and then it's decided now it's going. So that wouldn't be a bad option to put it there. It is looking like it may be right. Mind you, we've had 2 pushes up. Maybe we get a couple of attempts low and then we go up it. Who knows? So, let's get some of these down here. So, 200 odd contracts at 20, which is there. Now, there is a little bit of, you see that line I put there? We'll bounce in there. Let me have a look back. So you can see it's playing a part again, this area. And again, in fact, that was more or less where I had that line before a little bit, maybe half an hour ago, because I saw it bounce into there a couple of times. So that same area again, you could see where it pushed up there, didn't it? It pushed up into it, and same there. So it's playing a part there. So, woof, straight down through those orders. So I thought we may get a pullback here, but no, straight down. Look how nice it's fitting that channel. Now we're at the bottom now nearly. It may hold. So we're getting close to these lows now. So is there going to be profit taken here? Buyers down there. You'd have think there'd be profit taken here. It's been a strong move down. Do you want to wait till it gets to the bottom, or do you want to take some of your profit? I'd have gone out a long time ago. I'm a coward when it comes to that. I'm not used to holding on. I like to get in and out. I've never really held on, so I haven't got the cojones for it. I'm a bit of a coward when it comes to that. Later on down the line, if I like something enough, I may decide to hold a bit longer. But right here and now, it's not for me. Nice fitting channel there. There's bound to be some profit taking there. I would have said. But there are buyers there, so maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not. It's come down really strong there and quite quickly as well. Let's call the move from there. So where are we? So that's taken 9 minutes and 20 seconds, come down 23 points, and the rest. So really strong move there. So there may be a small break then, a new low. I wouldn't want to go long here. because I think it's negligible, that break. In fact, if I do that, it's non-existent, really. Now, as we know, a lot of the time, the majority of the times when we break out of these channels, we break out and we make a new low. Under circumstances like this, I wouldn't be thinking about going short here. So we've got sellers at 15, which is there. So if we get a bull bar here, it may trigger that, pick up some sellers and come down. We haven't got one as yet. Just losing a bit of momentum. This thing doesn't want to stop. Okay, here's the break. Now, what do we do here? That looks a nice looking channel to me. This is the first break. Now, often we do come down. Now, trouble is, if this is ranging, most breakouts fail. Now, I think it's well, that's interesting. Unfortunately, it's only a first entry, so there's nothing I can do there, even if I wanted to go short. There are still sellers at 15, not a huge amount. In fact, there's more at 12.5, which would count for a lower high. Trouble is, way too far from that EMA. We've already made a new low anyway, so you can't, not really nothing you can do there. It's only a first entry. Yeah, it's testing this line, so that may encourage it, but it's only a first entry, and all of a sudden it went up, crossed over, went up a tick, and then just dropped. So same again. What we could do, unfortunately. So 900. So we got buyers down there. And a bit higher. There's some around this area. Still got a chunk of sellers at 37.5. Can't see it get back up there relatively soon. God forbid we get, doesn't happen anymore, does it? I can't remember the last time I saw a nice two-legged move back to the EMA with a nice bearish bar. Just doesn't happen much. I mean, obviously leading up to Christmas, it's gonna be quiet. I don't know. Some Christmases I've done okay, but it's just been poor for, I'd say, at least the last 3 weeks. Most people I've spoke to said they're not taking a lot of trades. It does this for some reasons. I don't know why. Who knows? But it does happen from time to time. We do go for a spell of just not getting a lot of trades. I don't know why. Why don't we get a setup? Who knows? Why don't the bars move where we expect them to? I don't really know. The trouble is, being a retail trader, you don't really know much about the mechanics. We're kind of in the wrong area. That's more the institutional side that probably know a lot more about it than we do. But, and then all of a sudden it'll clear up. It wasn't long ago that I was taking a trade a day and winning most of them. And then over the last 3 weeks, I think I've taken about 2 trades. But I'm pleased with the fact that I haven't lost my patience and tried to push something. Much better to not make money than to lose it. Because if the patience does get the better of you, that frustrates you, and sometimes that can lead to more impatience. So I think you're much better off not taking a trade than taking a super risky one and risking a loss. I have changed my chart as well, so I'm back to ultra low latency. So you should be seeing more or less the same thing I'm seeing within a couple of seconds. I did try streaming in 4K, but it slows things down too much. Videos, I think, are much better in 4K because there's no kind of time constraints. But we're streaming. Ideally, we all want to see the same thing at the same time, or as close to as we can. I think it was moving nice, is it? Yeah. So I'm guessing we are targeting yesterday's. Yeah, we did trade yesterday, didn't we? There was a reasonable amount of volume actually. It does look like we're trading targeting yesterday's lows. We're not far away. So there's a bull bar there. Now, for me personally, I wouldn't take that. Often that first move, especially when you're coming down like that, often that's a trap and you end up getting stuffed. And if it does come below there, it's likely to hit this level. So, I mean, there's a chance we get a higher low and it pulls back to the EMA, but there you go. Not likely. So that quick push below that bull bar there took us below yesterday's lows. I'm pretty sure it did anyway. So I used to take those all the time. I don't anymore. Yeah, I did it. Dropped us by a tick or 2 or 3. So I don't know how many times I chase them and they don't work. They rarely work. The higher low is a better option, but when it's moving down here like this, there's a good chance it's going to get this area, isn't it? And then you've got to kind of give it space. But there's so much of the day that is, I think Thomas Wade calls it an area of development or something, where you don't really know what it's doing. You're waiting to pick up interested buyers or sellers to kind of move it on its way, and then we try and jump in on their tailcoats, so to speak. But at the moment, you don't know whether, I mean, this thing could continue down or it could bounce here. I suppose if it's going to move up, this is probably going to be an area where it's more likely to happen. But I'm just wondering whether there is probably maybe something a little bit wider here. It's possible. At the moment, though, I'm just going to leave it as is. But we may have another channel down at a slightly different level. But for now, I think I'll just leave that as is. You never know. Sometimes it will just teeter around a bit and then continue down some more. You never really know at the moment. So, I mean, there could be the start of another channel. My guess is I'd expect at least a pullback here, I would. But you never know. Sometimes when you think the market can't go down any further, it just does. And then an hour later, we're down here, and then Max says every time it gets back to the EMA, you could have gone short. But until it gets all the way down here, you don't know it's been a super bearish day. So there's nothing here anyway. A little bit of sideways there. You can't take any of these, really. There's nothing you can do with it. I mean, if you think it's bearish, you may have a go at any large bearish bar here. But my experience is as soon as you do, it decides to trick you and trap you and then stop you out, and then it ends up rubbing your nose in it by going down some more. But at the moment, you just got to be so careful around here. It could continue down or it could completely reverse. But I wouldn't. Around here, it's kind of making its mind up. Is there more buyers or more sellers, and where's it going to go? If we have a couple of legs up, it pushes down, a couple of legs back and continues, and it's more likely going to continue down. But until that time, there's nothing we can do here, really. You're taking risks trying to ride it back to the EMA, especially after it's so bearish. But then you do nothing, it pushes back up. So you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. So my guess is, unless you're really sure where it's going, just leave it alone. You can have much better success doing that. I've learned that the hard way of just getting bashed from pillar to post. You do nothing, it shoots up. Next time you decide, next time it does that, I'll go long. You jump in, it'll trigger you and come down and stop you out. You've really got, you can't second guess the market. You've got to wait for some proper clarity. Otherwise, you're tossing a coin. I wouldn't take anything here at the moment because this channel's played out. There does look like something else, but you've got to get something strong. You've really got to trap some longs and get a really strong bearish bar. We could get a second entry and ride it down, but I wouldn't take that bearish bar. One, it's only a first entry. Two, it's not close enough to that EMA. And three, there are sellers at 95, which is, funnily enough, one tick right above there. There's bound to be a bit of liquidity there. So I would have to wait for a second leg up and then strong rejection. And then I may have a go. It could be a really bearish move. It could continue down, but it's could. You do nothing and it'll come down. As soon as you decide to jump in there, it triggers your moves up, stops you out, and then gives you a nice second entry. You can't second guess this market. You're never going to beat it. You have to you can't outwit it. You have to sit patiently and wait for it to slip up and give you an offering. But you'll never outwit it, ever. So there is a second entry here. I think that's not close enough to that EMA, so I wouldn't take a lower high here, because if it triggers it, it may push up, and there's two bunches of easy liquidity. That, because it's right in the middle of this, it's weak, and that, because it's close to that liquidity up there, but not high enough. So I wouldn't take a short here anyway. Not only that, by the time it finishes, it's going to be close to the lows. That's an easy target to trap, I think. Having said that, there are strong buyers at 85, which is below price, so it may come down, but for me, it's a trap. And there you go. Triggered your buyer ticket, pushed up. This is where we may get this second leg up and pick up these sellers here. You've got liquidity there and quite possibly there, so we'll fight the market like Kirk. Trouble is with Kirk, he's a bit older. He's very strong-minded and set in his ways, and I think sometimes the older you are, and I heard someone else say this, if you're a professional person, you've got a very professional background where you've had a lot of responsibility and a lot of big decision-making, it's quite hard to adapt. So it's done exactly what I expected. If you didn't get in there, you got in there, it triggered you, pushed straight up, stopped you out, and there we go. We've hit these sellers now. there are sellers up here. So there is a second entry short there. I'd have to wait for a lower high there because there's a lot of sellers up here. It might not be terrible, that, but for me, I'm just a bit wary here. I think Kirk's, what is he, 60, mid-60s? Is he middle 60s, I think? It may work. In fact, there is a bull bar there, which is triggered, but it's struggling. And it's not going to finish right, so you've got to be so careful here. So if you'd have taken that one there, you may get stopped out again. Uh-oh. How you doing, Kurt? Happy New Year, bud. I was just saying, when you're a professional person and you've had to make really important choices throughout your life, I mean, obviously flying a plane, you've got a massive amount of responsibility. Sometimes it's hard to adapt that mind. That natural control wants to kind of take over. You've got to be so careful here. I wouldn't be surprised if that pops up. It's too choppy. There's nothing strong bearish here, so for me, you've got to sit tight here. I think there's easy liquidity here. Let me have a look. Book map. Yeah, there are orders above and below, so it could go either, really. Yeah, it's going to pop up, I think. 1, 2, 3, maybe a triple test. You've definitely got bull bars trapped there and there. Yeah, okay, so it took that one out there. So now what's going on? If you think about it, if you look at this, we got a small break and a new low. This channel's played out, so you may be trapping a load of shorts. This thing could tear up. We know there are sellers there. I can see them. Above that, not much. So maybe this thing will come down yet. I gotta get a diet. I've been eating like mad over Christmas. I'm about 15 3/4. I am. I've put a stone and a half on, I think, in the last, or certainly a stone on, in the last month or so, 6 weeks. So, that gap was filled. So 905, sellers there. Laufey, how you doing, bud? Happy New Year to you, mate. It's nothing really happening here. It's just chopping up and down. I have put this there. Whether it's valid or not, I'm not so sure. I had it like that initially. Which we've had a break. 2 pushes to a new low. So that probably looks a bit better. We've had this measured move, and we've had 3 bounces here, so this could be moving up. I got no idea, really. How much I can do there. Make 500 a day approximately, then one day make 3,000. Does Apex? Okay, so our Apex works with the 30%, I think it's 30% rule. So you can't make, well, you can, but you've got to trade. So if you take, it doesn't really matter what the smaller days are, but let's say you make $1,000 in one day. Your account needs to be above the level that 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 takes over 30%. So if your account's say at $3,000 and your biggest day was $1,000, you're about 33%. So if you obviously divide that by 3, it's about 33%. So you're over that 30% level. So that account needs to be around 3,300, somewhere about that. Obviously, I'm not calculating things, but your biggest day can't be more than a third above your account's balance. Now, it's not a problem at all. It just means you've got to build your account up a little bit further. So I think the easiest way to work it out is on a $2,600 level. I think your biggest day can be about 750. The reason they do that is because if you have a bunch of $100, $200 days and 2,500 in one day, you may have got a bit lucky on that day. Because it's probably a little bit out your pattern, so it stops windfall kind of traders. I don't think it's a bad policy. A lot of these policies actually make you a better trader, because if they don't have those policies and you incorporate that into your whole trading, when you get onto trading your own money, you're going to struggle. So having these rules are the same rules that you should adhere to if you're trading your own money, because you know, it's okay to trade prop firms like that, but if you start trading your own money like that, you're going to fall flat on your face. So, yeah, it just means whatever your account balance is, no one day can be above 30% of that balance. If it is, you've just got to trade a bit more and grow that balance, that's all. There is a way of calculating it. What is it? I can't remember. My head's a bit cabbaged at the moment. Looking at these charts, but there is a way of calculating it. Someone will mention it, I dare say. There is a way of calculating it. Can't think. Is it times, divide times, something like that? I can't think, but yeah. So if you've got $10,000 in your account, your biggest day can't be more than $3,000. That's the easiest way to think about it. $10,000 in your account, your biggest day was $3,000. You're on the 30% level, so you should be okay. It says no more than 30%, so you're golden there. So channel break, new high, possible lower high here. That's gone a little bit far for me to jump in here. Now it may come back to the EMA. My concern is we've got a chunk of sellers right there, right above that bear bar. Now that may mean you get triggered and it pulls up. So I'm sitting tight here. I'm not convinced this thing isn't moving up. There are sellers down here at 85. So my funded account, so a 6,000 drawdown. Went up to 3,000 so far. Close to blowing it as well. Yeah. Unfortunately, blowing accounts is part of the learning process. It happens. Trust me, I'm the champion at blowing accounts. I've blown over 1,300 evaluations. And when I say blown, I mean squandered, gambled, thrown away. Yeah, you know, it does happen. You have to go through that part of trading. There's no easy way through. Now, there are some people who are obviously a little bit more self-control. Slow pull the trigger. A little bit more self-control, but for the most people, it's just how you react to when things go wrong and you panic. I don't know what this thing's doing. I don't know whether it's going up or coming down. My guess is it may come down a little bit. I don't know, in all honesty. I don't know if I like that. But it is part of it. You can't help trading but losing money. But the best way to think about it, the money that you lose, you are paying for an education. Exactly the same would happen if you went to university in the UK. That would cost you £10,000 to £12,000 per year. And 3 to 5 years, you're you're going to have 50, 60,000 in debt, and that's pounds. So look upon what you spend on trading as paying for an education, paying for a career. So channel break, new high, second entry long, bars naff. It's an inside bar. I wouldn't go long anyway. I don't know whether this thing's going up a bit more or coming down. I got no idea at the moment. When there's strong pressure, and there is a bounce, even watching bookmap football. Yeah. How long have you been trading, bud? How long have you been trading? Might be able to clear some things up for you. Light trading is sickly expensive. I had some flying lessons once years ago. You've been trading 2 years. It's still very early 2 years. It really is. So the best thing I can tell you to do is just keep coming back every day and practice, 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 and just keep learning. And trust me now, only ever have one evaluation until you can keep accounts and you start to get paid, because there's no point in buying a copy trader, trying to get 10 evaluations and taking a bad trade on one and copy trading it. So only ever have one evaluation while you're learning, because all you're going to do is cost yourself a hell of a lot more money. Take my word for it. Tell us how much you want to spend each month. Yeah, maybe have a target of what you want to risk each month. Maybe keep it under, I don't know, $100 or something like that, or maybe even less. But you've got to keep an eye on your purse strings, because it's so easy for money to get out of grasp. It really is. Yeah, I had my wife bought me a flying lesson for me 40th birthday, and I had about another 8, I think, on top of that. And then my job changed, so I stopped it for a while. But it's quite nice out here. It's, well, I say quite nice. It's quite bumpy because you've got all the Welsh mountains where I live. So it's, you know what these light aircraft are like. It's, I think it was a Piper Warrior. I had a 4-seater Piper Warrior. But I always kind of liked aircraft stuff. I did a lot of skydiving when I was younger. But I always liked aircraft. I was a military family, so you're never far from a helicopter pad, and you tend to fly everywhere with everyone. Yeah, as I say, I wasn't convinced this thing was coming down. Psycho is a link. Yeah, okay, absolutely. I even remember the first plane I ever flew on was a VC-10 flying from Bryce Norton in the UK out to Cyprus when I was about 9, I think. Bryce Norton it's a kind of military airport in Oxfordshire in the UK. They tend to fly there most places. Yeah. One other piece of advice I can give you is don't try and take risks to get your account up to a PA account, because you will get lucky and get it up there, but then you'll pay a bit more money for the PA fee, and I guarantee you lose it. The only way really to get up to PA level is to do it organically. Trust me, I know the urge is to try and risk it, but trust me, it does not work. The only way you get up to that you want to be getting up to PA level is to trade it properly, so your skill gets you up there rather than luck. Because if you use luck to get up there, you'll pay your £100 or $100 or whatever it is to get your PA, and you'll blow it. I guarantee you. All you're doing is set yourself up to fail and set yourself up to lose more money. Use evaluations as a bit of experience to feel what it's like to have a little bit of risk, to have, a little bit of skin in the game, and use it for that reason and that reason only. But you can have an easier learning curve or a very hard learning curve. I had a tough one because it cost me a stack of money, and all I did was blow account after account. And once you start doing that, you'll find it really hard to stop. and that gambling sort of feel and that buzz will take over, and you'll find it hard to stop. There was times where I had to ask myself the question, am I addicted to gambling here, or do I just want to learn to trade? Fortunately, I've never been a gambler. It's never interested me. But it doesn't mean you won't get addicted to gambling. You know, I tell you something for now, there'll be people who lose tens of thousands and even probably houses. So you've got to be so careful. Just be sensible. Write everything down and set yourself some boundaries. I will risk $50, $100 a month, no more. That way you keep control of it. But when you lose control, that's when things start to get tough. I had times where I felt physically depressed. It changed my mood at home. My wife said I was miserable all the time. And if you let it, it can take over your life. You can eat, sleep, and breathe trading. So it's good to make sure you have a break for it, but really keep track of the amount of money you're spending, because it can financially cripple your trading. It really can. I don't want to put you off. You've just got to really be sensible. The trouble is, when you get that buzz, it's very hard to control it. As you know, obviously a lot of people who've ever had any gambling addictions, they know how hard it is. Gambling addiction is exactly the same as any other addiction. Drugs, whether you smoke or whatever, it's very hard to give up. So the best thing you can do is avoid it. And the best way to do that is to keep in control of what you're spending. Copy trading, multiple evals was my biggest mistake last year. Daryl, we've been speaking on and off now for a while. You know, I've had that same problem. I haven't spent a penny on trading for over a month now. And I tell you something, it is a wonderful feeling to feel like you're in control of your spending. It's a great feeling. I can't tell you how good it feels. Now, there is a possible second entry long here. Now, there are orders up at 15. So I don't think that's terrible if it finishes right, which I don't think it's going to anyway. It's tempting. It's very tempting, but we've bounced off this level here. So I'm going to sit tight here a minute. I don't think it's a terrible trade. In fact, it looks better on here. Trouble is, it's so bloody large already. Now, there are sellers at 15 and 17, which I think's good. It's just something I'm not massively wrapped. There's sellers at 15 before the top and sellers at 17. I just didn't like that bar. And sometimes if the bar's weak, it can stitch you up. Now, all of a sudden, this is coming back. I'm glad I didn't get into it. I don't think that would have worked for me. I tick above there. Ooh, I may have gotten away with it, but it's close. If I'd have gotten a tick late, in fact, if I'd have gotten a tick late, let me put that. It's about there, I think. So, I'd have been okay there, just. But see how it's coming back? It's not a strong position. It hasn't gone far before it's coming back already. I'm surprised because of the sellers up there, but if it's a strong position, if that would have pushed down and finished really strong, it would have held. But look, all of a sudden, we're taking the stop. I was originally up 530, then went negative 75. See, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Tilt kicked in. I'll tell you what you could do to help you is to get Guardian Angel Trader and only allow yourself a certain amount of trades a day. I still use it and I have it set to 1 trade a day. Now, if you're taking evaluations, I wouldn't suggest you leave it at 1 trade a day, but I'd probably say if you're learning, you do need to take trades to learn. You've got to make mistakes to learn, but maybe use Guardian Angel Trader to limit the amount of contracts, to take over some of the responsibility, to stop you getting that kind of addiction feeling, So that's a possibility. If you want to do something like that, let me know. I'll tell you how to get it and so on. But it's good to get rid of these habits early on before they start to really start to dig in. Don't copy live accounts. Yeah. I'd forget copy trading altogether. Just focus on one account at a time. When you get there's no point in using multiple accounts until you can make money, because all you're doing is multiplying the amount you're losing by 5 accounts or 10 accounts. You need to earn money out of an account before you start to add more to it. The time to add more is when you can start to make small, consistent amounts of money. And that's the time to start to grow. Up until then, stick to one. That way, your losses will be minimal. Because as I say, you can lose a ton of money. I was lucky. I had some affiliates, so that made my losses manageable for the most. But a lot of the times I had my credit cards up at the end of the month, and then I had to pay them straight off. But I was kind of up, down, up, down, up, down. So I thought we may get some sort of reaction here, and we did. That's clearly playing a part. You can see back here, bounce, 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 and you can see we've had support and resistance there. So this level here is clearly playing a part. So that would suggest that maybe, I don't know, maybe that's valid. It's hard to say. It may just be chop, chop, 2 legs up. So I'm probably inclined to do that. We've got a channel there with a break, new high, and same there. We got another little micro channel with a break and a new high. So this is just moving kind of small amounts. That I would suggest is a larger channel down. Yeah. So you just never know it's going to do that. There is kind of like maybe a failure here. In fact, that actually doesn't look terrible as a failure. Second entry long there, which triggers and comes down. Now, he's speaking to Vladdy about that's the type of trade he takes. He still doesn't take a short unless it's below the EMA. So what he will probably do in that case is put his sell order below there. Whether he'd take that or not, it's a bit congested for me, but it clearly works. Sellers obviously like that area, and you can see it push down, 5, 10, 15, 20 points quite comfortably. So it looks okay. I didn't really have anything on my chart on the right, so yeah, so we'll have to see this. Okay, excuse me just for a quick minute. I'm just going to take a bathroom break. Hold me a minute. Okay, let's have a look. So, there are buyers down here. We can tell there are buyers at 85, which is there, which tells me it may come down below there. And there are buyers at 82.5. So, anything that slightly concerns me is, mind you, it shouldn't make a difference. I've seen this before. I've avoided these and they work really well. So, It's going up a little bit. I'm not sure about that. There are a few sellers there at 05, which is there. Second entry short there. Bar's no good anyway. Just not sure about this because it's bounced in this area. It may push up. I'm not so sure. We've got a channel there with a break and a new high anyway, so that small one's played out in my opinion. We've just got nothing strong bearish there. It may not make a difference, but I can see there are sellers there and there are lots of buyers down here. So if we can maybe pick up some of them sellers, but the trouble is if you get aggressive sellers, you'll see those aggressive sellers climb up a bit now. There's about 1 million more. I think I'm reading that right anyway. And that's pushing things down. So trouble is there's no setup there on neither of these sides really. You can't take that. It's just a bit too weak. You never know what's going to happen. And then what happens? It rockets down. But unfortunately, if you don't get a setup, you can't take the trade. Doesn't matter whether you think it's going to go. Well, from a Pat's point of view, put it that way. And then down it falls. Yeah, you can see how this is playing a part here, can't you? Right the way along there and here. Right on that midline. Okay, straight down to these sellers. You can see there's just not much action up here, so price is just drifting towards these chunk of buyers, sorry. It's a shame, really, we didn't get a nice, strong, bearish bar there, because that wouldn't have looked terrible. Can't see anyone. There is a second entry short on this CL chart, but I've got that like that, and there's a break with a new low there. So I was kind of hoping we may get a long failure, but it may work that, but triggered and then pushed up halfway. So it's just not a massive fan of this. It may be testing the top of this and it may go up, but I don't know. I've got that drawn like that, however you want to draw it. In which case we've had a couple of legs up and then down to a new low. So it's hard to know exactly where this thing going. We pushed up strong drop down strong. But at the moment, that EMA is flat as a pancake, so it's triggered that bear bar. It may push up and stop it out, and then come down here and stop the long out. I don't know, but there's nothing strong down here which would make me jump into that short. Especially when you know all the main bulk of the bars are around about here at the moment, and the EMA's flat, so nothing there. I don't think. Hopefully, from next week things will improve a little bit. When more institutional traders start getting back to work, hopefully things will start to get back to some kind of normality, because it's been poor lately. So it's hit all these areas where I expected. Still like it to see it drop a touch more there. So maybe we get 2 legs down here, who knows. We certainly want a couple of legs up here and test this. There's always a possibility that we may end up having something like that. It's a bit too early yet, but get the drift. Okay, that's where I wanted to hit there, that level now. So let's see what happens now. We've got one leg down with a little bit of sideways. You may call it a correction. It's not the clearest one, to be honest with you, but it did push up to that midline, so it's kind of rejecting at the right area, so it is playing with some sort of, it's understandable, it's readable anyway, for want of a better word. So let me have a look. So we've got buyers around about the 77 mark, which is 1 tick below that bar. So you'd expect that to get stopped out. So on this chart, you may argue there's a higher low. It may push up a bit here because there's going to be liquidity here. And you can see at 85, there are some sellers. And that would take us to the tops of here. So I wouldn't be surprised if it pushed above here. You'd expect it to. They're weak positions, I think, anyway. So there's a second entry short. I wouldn't take a second entry short here. My guess is it'll trap you. I could be completely wrong, but I'm not going to take a second entry short here. Having said that, there is a higher low there, but for me, I think it's more likely to trigger this and then push up. That bar there is right in the middle of all this, so it's just risky. There's going to be liquidity here, here, and here. So for me, these are weak positional places to sell for me. So my guess is if it hits that, after triggering it, it'll push above that and then that. As I say, you can see there are some sellers there. Not a huge amount, but I certainly wouldn't be considering taking a short here. It's too risky at the moment. As I say, it's still a bit choppy there. We don't know whether it's going up or coming down yet. So that bear bar there, that lower high is triggered and that's pushing up. So if it gets above there, it might have a little bit of a push. There you go. So it's cleared that out. The only one left is there and there, or 2 left is there and there. So my guess is it will clear them. So it's made a matching high on that one. You may argue there's a triple test there. I'm not taking it. It's just choppy. You can't take anything here, in my opinion. It doesn't look too bad here. That's probably the one that's going to push down below there. But I'm not taking it because it is choppy, so it may just surprise you. There's going to be some traders trapped there. I don't doubt it, but it's the best of a bad bunch, I think. But I wouldn't take it because it's a bit choppy. I think it'll work certainly below there. Well, yeah, there you go, and it has done. So you'd expect that, but I don't like it on here. If it had broken above those two bars there and closed a bit higher with a bear bar, I'd have probably had a go at that. We certainly could do. Yeah, I've put this other legs down. Sorry, this other leg down here, so we certainly could. I'd have preferred it to get up to test the bottom of this, and maybe it will, but I don't know. I have drawn that, but that's kind of steep for me. Doesn't look terrible. Trouble is, we're coming away from that bottom, which is telling me we may have a little bit more sideways. So there are buyers there, and there are some sellers at 85, which is there. I would feel much better to clear out some of this liquidity. Is that 85? It is, yeah. That's kind of what I was hoping would happen. You may argue it's a triple test, but just wasn't a massive fan. If that had pushed up higher, cleared all this out, and then the top of that red bar would have been tucked under there, then I'd have had a go at that. Trouble is, if this is a channel, we are coming away from the bottom here. So my guess is it's likely. I think a lot of I think there's quite easy liquidity around about here, and you would naturally think usually before it pushes further down, it would pop up and test this. And in doing that, it clears any liquidity from here down. So I would like to see that, but you never know. It may just continue down. But for me, we're losing a little bit of momentum here. If this is a channel, I mean, it may not be a channel. It's not the best looking thing in the world, but for me, I think we need to push up and clear this before this thing, certainly before I'm interested in taking anything a bit lower. A bit dull. Let me see if I can brighten myself up a touch. Okay, this will be the push up, I think. So sellers at 85, and there are some at 90, which is not bad because if it pushes up to there, right at this level, that wouldn't be a bad place to go short. You know, if you think this is coming down, obviously, but wouldn't be interested in a bearish bar. That it's right in the middle of this. It's not going to form anyway. This for me is going to clear out all this liquidity. It just makes perfect sense. If you like shorting here, and there are traders that do want to short right between here, makes sense that it pushes up and clears this liquidity before traders want to get in. You get in early, you're going to get chopped up most of the time. But you can clearly see it's coming away from the side there, so you'd naturally expect the break. That's if this channel is valid, which I'm not massively convinced it is. But as we've broken below this area and so on and so forth, you'd expect it to test this area, and that is right in the middle of where there are a bunch of sellers. Between 85 and 90. And then there are buyers down here, which is always a good thing. So we'll have a nice push up in a minute. Now, let's see how this finishes and whether this triggers and pushes up. I'm leaving this well alone. danger written all over it. Now, you may argue it's a triple test, so it's bound to pick traders up, but without bookmap, you wouldn't see that there's loads of sellers here. You can see them. Now, it is a triple test, so you may just get aggressive sellers selling it and thinking they like it, but for me, it's just, it's in the danger zone. Not only that, we've had a small break out the bottom, and often we'll get one out the top. There it goes. So you may have got something out of that if you did get in there, but I don't think it would have worked for me. So if I got on a tick below 2.25, you'd have got a couple of points out of it, and then it's gone exactly where I expected it to go. I'm surprised it actually made so much, to be honest with you. But you can tell why it's tempting, triple test, and you jump in there now. If you'd have got 2 points or less, you'd have gotten away with it. Now, trouble is, this kind of looks like a bottoming pattern to me. So, but Bookmap's telling me there are a lot of sellers here, and there are buyers appearing down here, which is telling me traders are thinking this is going south. Now, I'll need this to go a little bit higher. Ideally, test this and pick up them sellers. Now, it may not. There are sellers from 87 and upwards. Let me have a look. That's kind of a failed breakout, which looks like it's failing anyway. So if there's enough aggressive sellers in there, which it looks like there may be, right, these up here are starting to fade now, which is telling me it's not going to come back. Unfortunately, it's too late for me. I was just a bit nervous with these sellers here, but look how well it worked. I'd have preferred the lower high there. You missed it. Yeah, it did move quite quick. Just having a look if other people had a go at it. I wouldn't be surprised if some took it. I don't think it's the worst trade in the world. Failed breakout of here, cleared liquidity. My only slight concern is there was sellers at 90, but then all of a sudden, as this started pushing down, those sellers at 90 just started to disappear. It's just one of those things, isn't it? Yeah. Someone said it didn't get filled. Someone said waiting for the lower high. I think it's fair to say how the market reacts to a certain setup is a good indication whether it was a good place to entry. And the way that went down strong, you'd have to say a lot of sellers like that. So it's not a terrible setup. I didn't think it was bad at all. Triple test. What I like about it, and I think what's important, is it's cleared any previous liquidity. It'll do that a lot of the time, and then traders will get interested. My only slight concern is we did have some sellers at 90, so my concern was it was going to push up, take out these, and then drop. But it's all right, I don't mind. It wasn't a huge risk either, was it? But as I say, it went that quick, so you may not even got filled. I didn't like it on this thing, the bar was huge. I think it was about 6 or 7 points on this side. But look at that, it's popped down there, made a new low, and instantly reversed. Just goes, you never quite know. I don't like that now anyway. I wasn't unsure about it anyway. You just never quite know what things are going to happen. All of a sudden, looking like it may come down for the second leg, and it may well do. And all of a sudden, we drop down and then instantly push up. As I say, I'd have much preferred it to hit this 90 level. They are appearing again at this 90 level. And not only that, it's testing this area here. I don't know how I feel about it now. Is this starting to turn? Let me have a look at this. Possibility. Trouble is, we're not getting down to the bottom again, so I'm going to get rid of it for now. The consistency rule is always there, but once your account grows, so does that consistency rule. So if you've got $2,600 in your account and you've had a $750 day, you're within it. If you've got 10 grand in your account and you've had a $3,000 day, you're still fine. So the bigger your account, what they're doing is stopping windfall traders. In other words, traders will get little bits here or there and then hold on and just try and get lucky. And rightly so, really, because you don't want to be trading that way. You don't want to just, take risks and try and get lucky. Because it may push up really well, and then, you may think, well, let's stick it at $2,000 in, let it go. It may go up halfway, come back and take away your drawdown. So it's not good practice to do that anyway. So, some of these rules that Apex have brought in will help you. I guarantee it. Same with you used to be able to take $2,000 when you got your account to $2,500. Chances are 9 times out of 10 you're going to blow it. So by not letting you take $2,000 and only letting you take $500, you still have $2,100 left to play with, and that is worth keeping. So they've done you a favor by doing that. So a lot of these rules are really based around how you really should trade anyway. So I wouldn't fight them, just understand them and then kind of play with them. But yeah, just remember, whatever your account balance is, before you take a payment, your biggest day can't be more than 30% of that current balance. So you can't take a payment until your account is $2,600 or higher. So just keep that in mind. Is your biggest day more than 30% of your current balance? If it is, you've got to trade a bit longer and grow it a little bit more. Now, if you do trade that way where you try and go for big moves, I wouldn't necessarily let that put you off. It just might mean you end up growing your account a little bit higher, which isn't a bad thing. Depends how you trade. It's not something that ever really affects me, to be honest with you, because I go for a small amount anyway. I don't, my biggest day really, or biggest trade profit is $150. So it's completely irrelevant for the way I trade. But if you do risk 1 to 4 or something like that, and you might go for bigger amounts, I wouldn't change the way you trade. It just might mean you've got to grow your account a little bit bigger. Yeah, so there is a possible second entry short here, but I don't know where this thing's going, to be honest with you. Looks like it's probably going to come down. You've probably got some liquidity here and maybe down here, but I'm not taking this. It's certainly not clear. It may trigger and push up. My guess is it's more likely going to come down, but it's not a clear. It is a second entry short, but it's not a clear setup. So I'm just leaving it alone. I want something that's obvious, not something that looks like it's going to work. At the moment, it's nothing you can do here. We have pushed into this area and pushed down below it, so it may come lower. But same again, it's not clear. I don't even know whether I like that anymore. Channel break new high, push down. It may well come down. So we've got buyers at 880, which is down there. It's not low enough, really. But we have got some down here at 70, which is below the lows of the day. So it's just not clear at the moment. It is a lower high on this, but look at the size of it. It's 21 ticks anyway, so I'm just not interested in that. It may come below there, trap that and push up, so I'm just leaving this at the moment. It's not super clear. If I had to bet, I'd probably say it's more likely going to go down, but it's just too risky. If we had more liquidity around here, that may interest me, but any little bit of liquidity that may have bought there's gone anyway, so. Switch to a sim and keep banging away. Yeah, I think really it's always important to think about protecting your accounts. Now, that may seem a bit hypocritical of me telling you, but the reason I'm telling you that is because it's something I never really did up until recently. If things aren't going your way, or you've had a couple of winners or you've had a couple of losers, much better. It's still important to get screen time. I always like to do, ideally, a minimum of 2 hours. Most of the time, my trading day is about 3.5 hours. I get to the chart around about 1:30 UK time and trade to around about 5:30, 6 o'clock. So 1:30, 2:30, 3, 4, 3. So there's 4 hours there, sometimes a bit less, sometimes a bit more, but I like to kind of do the 3.5 hours. I think that's enough for me. But those 3.5 hours, 17.5 hours a week, 70 hours a month, it does contribute towards a better understanding of what's going on and just more experience. So if you'd have taken that lower high there, it triggers you, pushed up and stopped you out. So it's not clear. It's irrelevant where we've had a break and a new high. We go down and start going sideways. So there's just nothing you could do. You have to wait for a strong indicator. If you get a strong position, other traders will see it and other traders will take it. And you kind of, you've got a lot more backing than safety in numbers. Which is why really you've got to wait for an obvious setup, because other traders are going to take that. If it's mixed in with all this, most people leave it alone, apart from the inexperienced guys, and they're the ones that end up taking lower highs here and getting chopped up. And it wasn't that long ago I was one of them, but you do learn in the end. The more you get, you lose way more by you losing trades, that it really teaches you eventually where to stay out of, and you get used to knowing those areas where this is a bit riskier. I've said it 3 or 4 times today. I'm staying out of this. It looks like a trap, and it's done exactly what I expected. So the more time you spend trading, the much better position you are for spotting these little areas where things are likely to catch you out. They can, yeah, you're right. Sometimes with sims, I agree with that. Sometimes with sims, you end up just doing stupid things. Or even maybe not even trade on a sim, maybe just sit and watch the charts. Just sit and watch. Sitting and watching the charts and learning how they move and stuff, it will help you. You don't have to necessarily. In fact, sometimes it's nice to not trade, put your feet up, sit back and relax, let go of the mouse and just watch the charts and just see how they work. Sometimes you see things you don't. It's kind of nice sometimes to just sit and watch. And do nothing. Unthinkable. it takes the pressure off you for starters. You got no pressure to try and make money. But yeah, that's the downside to trading a sim. I remember trading sims and taking way more trades than I'd have done if I'd have been trading with money or trading with a PA account. It's just kind of the nature of how things affect you. But you know, it's important to try. Oh, excuse me. It's important to try and just kind of follow the protocol. But you know, if you're doing the silly stuff, sometimes you're best off just putting the mouse down and just sitting and watching. How long have I been going for? I'm just going to go make myself a drink, I think. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's a bit choppy at the moment. There's not really much we can do here. There are orders at 95, which is there, and at 900, which is up here. So is this going to come up a bit higher? You'd have thought so based on what I can see here. And there are buyers down here at 70, which is the lows of the day. The further prices away from these low, the less of a pull they have. So we'll see anyway. There's always a possibility of a larger channel forming, but I'm not so sure. So I'm just going to take a quick break and make a cup of tea. There's not much happening today, so let me just move that. Let's put it there. I'll mess my pretty face up, do I? There we go. All right, I'm going to take a quick break, make a quick cup of tea, and I'll be back in about 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, there is a triple test there. Trouble is, it's just not very clear. Okay, sellers at about 96.5, which is there. I'm not sure about that at the moment. It's just not clear. It's quite weak, isn't it? It's more sideways. It is slightly up, but it's very weak. There is a possible second entry short. It's probably lightly going to come below that bar there, but it's still very choppy, isn't it? So if you want to argue there's a triple test, you could have argued that one. That didn't work. You could have argued that one. That one didn't work. So at the moment, it's just a little bit too choppy for my liking. So that second entry short here, or lower, whatever you want to call it, failure, whatever, did work. It's just not very strong. We've already had a break and a new low from here, so you just don't know what it's going to do. So I left it anyway. It wasn't a good setup anyway, in my opinion. So you could argue that it doesn't look terrible, but I certainly wouldn't consider going long at the moment or short. Sometimes it does this, traps longs and longs in and has a flush down. It's just, it's not going up strong for me, so I don't want to go long. And as it is slightly going up, I wouldn't want to go short either. There may be something bigger. I'm not super convinced there is at the moment. I'm assuming it's more likely going to improve on Monday. There'll be more traders trading on Monday. So buyers at 80, which is there. Now, there'll be some liquidity here. It's slightly going up, so there's bound to be traders buying here, you'd have thought. So I wouldn't be surprised if this thing has a drop to this level, possibly lower. There are buyers down here at 72 and 70, which is below price. But there are a few buyers just appearing just below price now, so there are traders still trying to push this higher. I think it'll absorb them, to be honest with you. So it's just hitting buyers now. My guess is it's more likely going to come down to this 80 level. It's not got the legs. There'll be liquidity here and then down here as well. So my guess is it's more likely going to come down. It's very weak around here. See if this triggers and then drops. My guess is it is coming down. The strongest I can see at the moment is here, and there's down here. So it's more likely going to get pulled down. See how weak it is around here. If you took that, my guess is this is going to come down and stop out. It's just congested here. It's a weak position, I think. It may go up. My guess is there's more. If you look on bookmap, where's the first bit you're drawn to? Down here. It's red down here, isn't it? There's a large amount. Now, it doesn't mean aggressive buyers can't just decide to buy here and push price up. There's no guarantees. But to be honest with you, once they have their little push, we're kind of still left with the same scenario. Those passive orders are a big part of the trading day. They tried there. You could see there was a slight rise, but they tried to push this up, but it just had no legs. Once it gets below there, it'll just become easier then. If you took that trade, it's almost always going to get stopped out. Once it comes that close like that, we've had that little fake push up, which just did nothing, and then it comes down. You haven't got to hope. You do get used to noticing these little areas. It's clearly congested, really. You just can't take that. There's no guarantees it won't push up there, but 9 times out of 10, when you see it's just weak and sideways, the whole channel's weak, and often just traps sellers and then rushes down and clears them all out. But because price is still moving up, you don't know when it's going to decide to turn. And at the moment, we're pushing up and we're going this way. So price is working up. So I can't go against the grain at the moment. If we get a second entry long here, there may be a failure. So that might be a possibility to go short. But let me just see if this bigger channel is playing a part now. I could bring that down to this next little swing here. So doesn't fit terrible. It's not strong enough for me to just decide to trade and hold here. I do think it's going to come down to these areas here because they're above liquidity, and you can clearly see it's coming and taking out any liquidity there. It's very weak there. I wouldn't have taken anything. There'd have been a time where I would have done, but I can't tell you how many times I've ended up thinking it's going up. I've got to find a way, to go up, and you get into weak positions, and all of a sudden down it comes and just makes your day miserable. You can see those sellers there, quite strong sellers at 80. there's not much further up. It's very black here. Unless you get any aggressive buyers buying here, the thing's coming down. Sometimes just to rub your nose in it, it'll trigger the long there and then come down, and it's so predictable sometimes. There you go. So it's triggered that. Now, there is a channel up there, no doubt, but it's not strong. So look, I wouldn't take that short, even though it's a failure. It's just too far from that EMA for me. Not only that, as soon as we get below there, we're in the middle of all this congestion here. So it's just too risky, to be honest with you. I don't doubt for a second it's going to get stopped out, but because there's going to be traders thinking, oh, yeah, 2 legs down, let's go long gear after this channel and push up. Look what happens. You're stopped out. You do get used to noticing these areas there where something just doesn't feel right. Can't get in here either. You can't take that as a failure. It's in the middle of nowhere. There's support here. There's support along top of there as well. So a lot of the times you'll do this. You'll jump in. You'll take it as an engulfing. It triggers you, and then look, it's pushed up, stopped you out. Same again. It's risky. If you look, I used to have a sheet of paper on my stuck to one of my screens, and it used to say, taking a trade, look left. And if you look left from taking that as a failure, what you're seeing, support and resistance really strong around there. So you can't get in. The only way that's got a chance of pushing down is if it gets back to that EMA a bit and then maybe attracts more sellers. There are some sellers around about the 86, which is, say, 86-ish, let's say 86 and a quarter, which is back at the EMA. But you're going short into resistance there, so you can't take a trade around here. It needs to get up here, really. It's just not super clear. It's not an easy day today. A little bit more volume than of late, of course, as you'd expect. But Monday would be much better. I haven't seen many traders taking anything today. Everyone's still not back. I don't think Dan's back. Yeah, I haven't seen anything from him yet. No, he's not. Marco, I think Marco has been in. I don't think he's trading at the moment. He's probably back in, I think, for now. So there's clearly more orders down here, so it is pulling price down than that. 80. There. You can see that. And down here at 72. Slightly lower. So it is looking like it's slowly drifting down. Sean, how you doing, buddy? Happy New Year, pal. The 10,000 tick chart could be a larger channel working down. Yeah. Excuse me. I've looked at this a few times. I've ummed and ahed about it. I don't like the fact that this, but yeah, I get what you're saying. There may be some kind of there might be something like that. Who knows? I don't know at the moment. I'm not a massive fan of that, but I don't doubt that on the 10,000 tick chart it looks better. Let's have a look. Yeah, possibly. same again. I don't like this bit. And I think that's what's making it do this. It's not the best looking channel in the world, to be honest with it. It does kind of marry up there, but the bottoms don't really. Maybe, I don't know, but I don't know. I'm not confident with. I dare say there's going to be some stops down there. You don't doubt it may come down, but I'd expect maybe another leg up or something. But yeah, maybe. Thing is, the longer you go without setups, the more distrusting you get of the price. I just don't trust it. Mind you, in all fairness, I haven't seen any really nice setups for a while. And I know it's not me because I've spoken to other traders who've felt the same way. But leading up to Christmas, you'd expect it to a degree. So, we know we got orders below the lows of the day. There is a possibility of a second leg down. So, we have broken the lows of the day yet again. So, it does look like there's something coming down there, doesn't there? We got that leg down with a correction. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised. That looks much neater. It's fitting nice along there, so that looks better. Unfortunately, if you want to use that to trade, you'd have to wait for to get it back up here, really, wouldn't you? But that looks okay to me. The bottom's fitting nice. So there's still going to be a bit of support and resistance around there. So if we can get a couple of legs up to this area. There are some orders around 78, 79. Up to 80. So around about there. Feel about trading here, to be honest with you. Aye. There are a few. Oh, they've just disappeared. That's nice. There are a few buys there, not many. Shall I break new high? There are some sellers here. Let's get rid of that. See how we get on here. Trouble is, depends how you look at this. Same again, we are coming away from there. Now, if you look, see, this is what I'm looking at. We are coming away from the bottom, but if you look here, we didn't get down the bottom. We had a strong pullback, but then we dropped to the bottom. So just because we've had this initial move down doesn't mean this thing's doomed and it must take a break. We had kind of two legs up there and then the thing dropped like a stone. So that would be a second entry short. It doesn't look terrible. And then she pushes up some more. It's not doing what I thought it might. I thought this may drop, and it hasn't really. Trouble is, the further we get away from the bottom, the less of that magnetic kind of pull effect it has. We need some aggressive sellers here, really, to get this below that EMA if this is going to push down. The trouble is, there's no setup there anyway. We need a nice lower high here, trap some higher lows or something. See what sort of reaction we get here. lower high there. Drop below there. How I feel about it though. Failure would be better. See if we get a second entry long that fails. See if we get a second entry long failure. Channel break, new high, lower high. See what happens. Nothing I've seen as of yet, bud. This may work. I wanted the failure, really. It may work. You too. Yeah, there's just... The thing is, when it's like this, the best thing to do is do nothing, and you've done your job. It does, you know, it can seem a bit annoying sometimes when you sit here every day and don't get nothing, but the alternative is to take a risky trade and get stung. So it'll pick up. We've had plenty of times like this where it's gone flat for a few weeks. Christmas, you know, you'd expect it to a degree. But that's okay. That's okay. It'll change. It always does. Yeah, so if you'd have taken that lower high there, you'd have likely get stopped out. My guess is it'll break above there, yeah. So it's just not super clear, really. The failure would have been the safer option because at the moment, it's not really clear where it's going at the moment. So I don't know how many times in the past, channel break, new high, lower high, I'd have taken that. But it triggered, went down maybe a point, and then turned. Let's have a look. So I'm a little bit more actually. Let me have a look. See, they got a point and a half out of it, but it's not clear, and hence where it's going. So it wasn't a good setup. The fact it just worked, but the ATI is a little higher than normal today. But most of the time it wouldn't have worked. It's just not clear, really. We've had this kind of move down. I mean, if you think about this as a larger channel, you may kind of think like that, but I don't think you could take that higher, really. Maybe you could. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe that's a channel down. I've seen worse. Put it that way. Actually, it doesn't fit that bad. So we got two legs up, and then we push down and make a new low, and then trap shorts, thinking this thing's still going down, and all of a sudden it turns. So maybe there's something like that. It's not the worst setup in the channel in the world, is it really? In fact, if you think about it from that point of view, touch, it's not bad at all. In fact, I could take that out a little bit wider. It's not too bad. So maybe that is some kind of channel. There's a triple test there we've pushed down, but eventually it's found its way down to the lows, and then we got a second entry short, lower high, trap traders, and then up. So is this pushing up? It's hard to say. I wouldn't automatically assume it's going up and think about longs, because the most orders I can see at the moment are down here. So I wouldn't be convinced we have another second leg down. So I don't think you can just jump into taking longs here at the moment. You know, sometimes it's not pushed, it's not moved up strong, is it? You probably could go with something like that, but I think that's a bit vague for a first move, really. It's not gone up strong enough for me, so I wouldn't be surprised if this thing comes down again and tests these lows. I'm going to remove that just so you know that that's my thought process. This thing comes down a bit lower. I'm still not a massive fan of these channels either, to be honest with you. There is two legs up. There's a nice looking bearish bar there. Our orders down here. It may work, but I think this is a bit vague again. It's not clear. You could catch you out that, and if it does, it's not a small bar either. We've pushed below the EMA, and then we're all of a sudden we're pulling back to the EMA, so I don't think you can take this. It may work, but for me, it's just not super clear. You may argue we've got something like that, new high. Maybe it'll work. I don't know. I don't want to take the risk for that. It's not clear enough. It's 21, 23 ticks. It ain't finished yet. So 24, 25, 25 ticks. Too much for me. You could argue that that's that. There's a bear bar there. That may well push up. But same again, it's not super strong. You may call it high or low. But that ATR's up a little bit. It's just under 4. So to take trades like that and thinking, well, it may go up a bit more, it's just too risky. This is showing that it may go up a bit more. This is showing that it may come down. So I've got conflicting pictures. What I will say is down at 70 here, there are a bunch of buyers. It doesn't mean it's going to get down there. It just means there are other buyers thinking if we come down again, maybe 3 times, we'll have a go at going long. But it's still a reasonable amount away from this area. It's still nearly 30. It's not 30 points, is it? Surely. No, 70. Oh, 9, 10 points away. It's just not clear. It could go up, could come down. Unfortunately, it's just the way it is at the moment. It'll pick up. Before we know it, we'll have 1, 2, 3 trades. Someone's saying I might consider a lower high. I'm not considering anything at the moment. I've got mixed reviews here. This looks like it's going up. This looks like it may come down. So there are some sellers appearing up here around about the 86 level, which is there, funnily enough, above that bearish bar and above these few bits and pieces here. What time is it? How long have we been going for? 2 hours, 42 minutes. I like to do a minimum of 3 hours if I can. What time did I get to the charts? It was about 1:30, 2:30, 3:30, 4:30. I've done over 3.5 hours. Let's give it another 10 minutes. Come on, bear bar. I got mixed feelings here. This looks like it might be working up a bit. But same again, same as this. It's kind of looking like it's going up. It's a little bit stronger, but I don't think it's strong enough. That's not a reversal to me. It's just not strong enough. As it's chopping sideways, it's more likely to have a break. And if the channel's only gone that far and we're already getting a break, it's just it hasn't got the legs to get up. Now that obviously could change. But how many people are in short here for the day? There's a lot of pressure to go down. So it's not going up strong enough for me at the moment. We could even end up having something like this. Bit of a range. It wouldn't look terrible. All of a sudden, 1 minute it hasn't got the legs. Next minute we're having that bit of a surge. We took out a bit of liquidity there, some there, and there'll be a little bit there. So it makes things easy once it starts taking out stops. Those sell orders then get converted to buy orders, which gives it that little bit of momentum. Yeah, it's not an easy day really. It's obviously coming down, but it's having that lack of strength to get much lower. We broke yesterday's highs with no problem at all. We've not been down here for a while, I don't think. Shot like a sniper, Kirk style. I don't know about a sniper. I think Kirk's opening up with a heavy machine gun. I think, isn't he? Mind you, he's a pilot, so I'm guessing he's opening up with one of those A10 things where they just shoot the hell out of everything on the ground. What do they call them? An A10 Thunderbolt or something? Warthog or something. Tank busters, aren't they? That's what Kurt's got under his arm. A tank buster. Biggest bull bar of the day. Yeah. The trouble is, you never know it's going to do that. I'd have never guessed it was going to do that. But then once you're eating up some of these, there's liquidity there. Until we started pushing, we hadn't broken above that bar there. We'd matched it and there. And once it got above there, it hit some stops there, and that caused that little surge, and then eventually some stops here. So there's definitely sellers selling this thing, trying to continue these down. I don't doubt, but I'm still not even a fan of that, to be honest with you. Maybe it is. The trouble is, if you go with something like that, then you'd expect to break in a new low, and that's what we might get. It may go a bit sideways and then come down, but I don't know, to be honest with you. It's not clear, is it? Larger daily downtrend. It may have done. I didn't even like it there, to be honest with you. I'm not a massive fan of it. You could argue it went to here. I mean, it's coming away from the bottom anyway, so you'd naturally expect a break. So I'm just kind of not a fan of anything at the moment. It's going to be another one of those days, I think. So sellers at 95, which is just above that top. And at 900 as well, which is there. I mean, with the exception of that little push up and those retests, generally it's been a bearish day, but it does look like it may be on the turn. You don't know. It's tested this area a bunch of times, so it may be testing this before it possibly pushes down. I don't know, to be honest. It may come down further, may turn. I got no idea at the moment. It's not one of the easiest days. There's nothing really. The only one I sort of consider is that second entry short there, but it's not. Depending on what you've got here with a correction, you don't know how far this thing is going to go down. And yes, it worked, and it worked quick. I don't think it was a bad setup. You just don't know. You just don't know. I mean, I had that partially, but then I didn't like it. It's not really a decent trend, is it? So the trouble is, if you're not exactly sure what you're looking at, it's hard to make a decision. And we shop that way. You don't know whether this is like bottom and it's going to push up. So you don't know whether we got a breakout here. It's going to pull back, touch the top, trap the shorts and push up. My feeling was that we had a bunch of times that it would probably more likely come down. But I tend to wait for the lower high if I'm not sort of sure. The trouble is, trading's been that hard lately. There just hasn't been a lot of setups. You do kind of lose confidence in what you see. And I think the longer you go without a trade, the more kind of untrustworthy you get. But it'll only take one decent setup, which we'll get in the next day, 2 days, a few days or something. We'll get something next week, I'm sure of it. Once people, things start to get back to normal. Obviously, Christmas does take a lot of traders out the market, doesn't it? People who might be earning longer term positions may decide to come out of those and focus on Christmas, which I suppose most people are doing this time of year. There's stuff going on in the news maybe has an impact. Although the news hasn't really been a huge amount lately, is it? There's not a huge amount going on, is there? We've not had any real freaky way out tweets from Trump. He's sort of quieting down a little bit. We're hearing more stuff in the UK about the UK state of UK politics at the moment. People are dramatically, I've said for the last 10 years, maybe more, there'll be a civil war in this country at some point. And people are getting pissed off with the amount of illegal immigrants coming in, the amount of money the government are throwing at it. And you can't get a dentist appointment for love and money. You wait for a knee operation, you're waiting 9 months in this country. We can't afford to look after ourselves. You can't take responsibility for everyone else. I understand there are people coming from war-torn countries, but when they come from half a dozen countries before they get to the UK, we can't afford to look after ourselves. Our own finances are right in the crapper. Our NHS is on its knees. So, you can't invite 50 people round to your house and try and afford to keep everyone. It just doesn't happen. And we're kind of an easy target, really, and our government are absolute bloody useless. Which is why we need a change. We really do. I mean, I don't know what people think about Nigel Farage. You either love him or hate him. I don't mind him, actually. He's the only one that seems to care about keeping, Britain. There's nothing wrong with keeping your history. There's nothing wrong with keeping your culture. But if you say anything about, the way things are changing, you're labelled a racist. I don't know what the answer is, to be honest with you. I think Nigel Farage is our best hope. At least he cares about British people. The first point of a government should be to take care of its citizens. It frustrates the hell out of me. I just hope we don't wait another 3 years to get a change in government. I fear we may do, but I just hope people are kicking off. I know a lot of people said a lot about Tommy Robinson, all that. He's come from a bit of a thuggish hooligan background, but I think he's, we all have a past, don't we? We all have done stupid things in our past, but people are listening to him a little bit more. I mean, they had that big kind of protest in London. There was 1 million plus. So people, I think, are, saying the guy, is a little bit of he's got a bit of a thuggish hooligan past, but, he does kind of care about, I don't know, what do you do? How far right wing do you want to go? I just know we can't sustain what we're doing at the moment. We need some sort of change. Yeah, they do. Of course they do, yeah. Any of these politicians, when they get out of politics, can just disappear to places like Dubai. All politicians, all these top politicians have all got previous jobs, previous incomes. A lot of them come from well-to-do families. They're never going to go short of a few quid. And if this country goes to the dogs, which is looking like it may do, all they got to do is up sticks and move somewhere else. It's easy. And the average everyday Joe is left to pick up the pieces. I'm not anti-colour. I've got nothing against coloured people. But for me, more, it's when Other religions come to your country and they want their own laws. They want us to stop. A lot of local schools didn't call it Christmas, the Christmas period. They called it the festive period because they didn't want to offend other religions. You know what I mean? A lot of the nativity plays the schools didn't have for wanting to fear other religions. It's our culture. It's the way we've been doing things for donkey's years. Why should we lose our own culture in our own country? I don't want to rant on about too much politics, but why should we not keep our culture? That's part of why people come to the UK. I go to India for the culture. I want to see the people. I want to see the rawness. I want to eat the food. I don't go there and try and change it. If you want to live in a place that has certain, animal rights and certain this and that, the other, then you live in a place that is, but you don't come to someone else's culture and expect them to change because you're offended. I shouldn't rant on about politics, really, but we need some change in this country. We do. I don't know why, people can't have their nativity play, which we've done ever since for 100 years plus. It's part of who we are. It's like we go to Spain for the women, beautiful women, nice food. You don't go there and want to try and change it. That's the whole idea about traveling to different places. If there's a culture, you go to someone else's culture. We just need to get rid of these gutless politicians and start looking after ourselves first. If you got your wages on a Friday and borrowed half of it to some of your mates and you run out of your money on Tuesday, people will call you an idiot. Why are you giving away money you can't afford? But that's what this country seems to do day after day. I think I read in the papers we had about 40,000 illegal immigrants come to the UK in the last 12 months. People have been living here all their lives and paying tax all their life, can't get a doctor's appointment or a dentist. I know people have been waiting 3 weeks just to see a doctor, waiting over a year for an operation. Dentists, try getting an appointment at a dentist. It's mad. It's unfair, especially, when people have been paying into the tax system all their working life and they're made to struggle because the government decide that they want to chuck half of your money away. Frustrates me. The one thing I'll say, you can say a lot about Trump. He's kind of, you love him or you hate him, but at least he does things for the American people. And that's the first rule of a government, to take care of its citizens. That's why you vote a government in. At least Trump seems to be trying to do something and trying to bring money in and trying to make it more of a prosperous country. I know sometimes he doesn't come over as very presidential, but do you want someone who looks good or do you want someone who actually does something? I'll tell you right now, I'd rather him than a lot of muppets we've got. I understand there's a certain amount of migration that a lot of countries need. We've got a lot of migrants that have come into the NHS. The problem I've got is people coming over, 40,000 illegal people coming over on boats, and 98% of them are young military-age males that you've got no idea what their background, what their religion is, what their beliefs are. And if you look at a lot of the terrorist attacks that we've had in the UK are from people who've come in illegally. They're, as we call them, homegrown criminals or homegrown terrorists. It boggles the mind, doesn't it? It's much worse than that. Is it really? Yeah. I understand people come from war-torn countries. I'd do the same if I had kids. But it's when they travel through half a dozen other safe countries to get to Britain, because we're an easy target. We've got stupid arse politicians and a government that just kind of go, yeah, we'll give you, here's some money, here's a mobile phone, here's a hotel, fill your boots. No, exactly. It's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy. And then what happens? The people we bring over in a lot of cases go on to end up slaughtering those young girls at that little... That boggles my head, that does, especially if you've got kids. That one nut job that decided to hack young kids together to death. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. So you may argue there's a second entry long there. That may go up. The only issue I have with that is we've got to move down and we've got 2 bigger legs up. So this may then come down for a second leg. And if you've got that, you may have an overshoot. So there's nothing you can do here. Excuse me, in my opinion. It may rock it up. I don't get it. I mean, this country used to look beautiful. It looks so different. It really does. You know, you used to come to Britain for the old buildings, the beautiful countryside, the old red phone boxes and telephone boxes. It just had that. You go to London now, it looks like you're in a different country. It really does. And, you got to be careful what you say. You don't want to upset people. People talk about Muslims and stuff, and there are a lot of good Muslims out there that are happy to get along. It's just the extremists that just make it difficult for everyone, really. Trump is an idiot. Well, he doesn't come over very presidential, but, from what I read, he does try and do things for the American people. So he's doing certainly more than our prime minister is. I don't know. Where do you start? I don't like talking too much about politics because people get really personal about it. And I get it. Everyone's entitled to their opinions. And when I have my say and other people don't, I understand sometimes people might get a bit annoyed. And this isn't about politics. It's about trading or lack of trading, the way things are at the moment. But there you go. What we can do is hope. Okay, I had a feeling it was going to do that, but I couldn't have gone long into support here. Unfortunately. I think it's going to be a dry day again, which is fine. I don't mind as long as we haven't really said anything. There's nothing. I get the temptation there. My only slight concern is it looked like a bit of you may argue it doesn't look terrible, but I don't know. Politics are shit, yeah. As I've said before, I think countries should be run by women. There'll be less wars, that's for certain. Mind you, and we waste a lot of money, but my concern is if you put women in charge, they may spend they get a certain amount of, politicians. In fact, I didn't realise the Prime Minister only gets £176,000 a year, but then you get expenses. Now, my fear is if you put women in charge, there'll be a lot more expenses paid on handbags and makeup and stuff. I'm only joking, but I think women would make a better job, to be honest with you. There'll be a lot less wars. Things will be a bit calmer. The trouble is with men, they're kind of too trigger happy a lot of the time. I know. Yeah, I mean, they have their. I think if you look at the Prime Minister's wage, they do. Excuse me. I think their official thing, yeah. Let's have a look. So the current salary of the UK Prime Minister is £172,000. MP £97 additional there. Now, they obviously get expenses as well, but if you think about it, I know half a dozen traders earning way more than that and working God knows how many, so it's not a massive wage. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're a prime minister and you've moved yourself up to a prime minister, you're obviously a very successful person. Most people who've been in politics, I mean, people like Nigel Farage, he was a trader. He was a commodities trader and a currency trader. So I don't think there's ever a prime minister that exists that isn't quite a wealthy guy anyway. So I think that's irrelevant. But it quite surprised me how small it is. But they do get a lot of additional income from expenses, and if you remember back 10 years ago, we had that expenses scandal where people were spending £400 on a blender and stuff like that. They were just overdoing it a bit. But I was surprised how small it is, to be honest with you. I think Nutty ain't more than the Prime Minister last year. So what does that tell you? Yeah, I'm talking about useless people. Yeah, I mean, it's not a huge amount, isn't it? It's not like they don't need the money, is it? But that doesn't change my opinion of Starmer, to be honest with you. He's not my favourite. He's certainly one of the most hated people in the UK about now. I just hope we end up having a snap gen. I can't see it, to be honest with you. It depends how unpopular he becomes. If people start protesting in the street, which I wouldn't be surprised, he may get forced out. I am really shocked his own party haven't got rid of him. I mean, you look at the polls, Nigel Farage is way ahead. The only way, really, in my opinion, that they've got a chance is to sort of outvote him, is to vote a no confidence and get rid of him. You put someone else in charge, you've got a fresh face. It's the only chance you've got of moving forward. But the trouble is, he's getting more and more hated, and it's going to get to a point where people are going to vote for someone else just for the sheer frustration that we've been stuck with him for so long. So I'm really surprised they've held on to him for this long and haven't got rid of him. I am shocked. Not sure what to do here. Everyone complains about renewed passports. Yeah, we've got this digital ID card stuff going on at the moment. It's going to cost X amount of money. Are they going to be able to police it? People aren't very happy about having everything. I mean, we kind of are anyway. I mean, you look at passports, people know where you are. Credit cards, it's all, most of it's digital now anyway, but I'm not too against it, to be honest with you. I think if you've done nothing, you've got nothing to worry about, but it's just another expense that we don't really need at the moment. If you want to try and make this country safer, you've got to stop the migration, the illegal migration. That will save you a ton of money, and that will help your country security massively. But they're too bloody gutless to do anything about it. Oh. Why do you think I'm working so hard to try and go to Dubai so I can spend the rest of my life in the sun? Whether it'll ever happen or not, I don't know. Trouble is, my 17-year-old daughter has got a serious boyfriend, so I can't see her coming. I have thought, actually, what do I need to earn, really, before I start considering something like that? And I would say I would have to probably be approaching $150,000 to $200,000 a year, I'd say. I don't know. I think if you're earning £120,000 in the UK, you're probably paying $50,000 in tax and national insurance. 50,000, what? That's $65,000. Can you live in Dubai comfortably for $65,000? You probably can. And that's living on just what you would pay tax and national insurance in this country. It's a proven fact. You're more healthier in a warmer climate. I have mild asthma. My wife does as well. So that's always, I know when we lived out in Cyprus years ago, my asthma was much better. So you're generally happier in a sunnier climate, aren't you? Whether we'll get round to it or what, I don't know. Well, surprisingly enough, my father-in-law spent some time over there, and Dubai is about the third safest country to live in the world, and that's based on women. I've watched lots of videos on people that have moved over from the UK to Dubai, and I'm yet to hear a negative side from a woman that they don't feel safe. Yes, it's an Arabic country, but they're quite balanced out there. I mean, the amount of I watched a documentary once about the Prince of Dubai who saw that the oil was going to run out eventually, and he decided to make it into aimed at more tourism. And I was surprised. Up until 6-7 months ago, I thought most of the income came for a while. It doesn't. I think it was only 20 or 30% comes from income. The rest come from tourism. Obviously, it's a big mecca for sort of wealthy business people who can kind of work remotely. I decided to take a page out of your playbook and not take a payout. Going to let them build up to 5 or 10,000. That's sensible, mate. That is. Don't need it. Absolutely. If you don't need the money, don't take it. The good thing about growing accounts is you get that realization, I can actually grow an account. So then you tend to trust that what you're doing is the right thing and you follow the rules. And then when you get it to 5,000 or 10,000, not only can you take money, it's at a nice, safe, comfortable cushion that you don't need to worry about losses that might affect you. And you can take a nice, consistent payout. That's a sensible thing, mate. Because you're quite, well, I don't want to say roguish. I don't want to mean nasty about it, but you take a lot of trades and you trade quite aggressively. But you saying something like that has given me hope for you, mate. It's not many people say that, actually. Most people just want to get everything they can. But for me, the next run in the ladder, once you've started taking some payments, is to start to grow the account. So good on you, mate. I'd love to go to Dubai just for that. A little bit of excitement. It's not often during your life do you move and work in another country. I want to make some of my friends and family jealous. There's always an element in that, isn't it? Oh, where's so-and-so gone? Oh, he's moved to Dubai. Works in the sun now. I don't know. I just think it's nice to go and work and live, even if it's for a few years in a nice warm climate. There's something kind of exciting about it, isn't there? Yeah, I like the sound of it. Whether it will, I mean, obviously I've got to take my wife into consideration and my daughter as well. She's got a boyfriend, so it would be tough for her. So I don't know, maybe a couple of years if she ends up moving out or what. I don't know. Who knows? Or I could commute. I could go out there and maybe for a couple of months come back for a couple of weeks and live out there temporarily by myself. I can't see my wife going for that, to be honest with you, but it's certainly a possibility. I might be reaching a bit there, but there we go. Now, do I like this channel? I'd say no. It doesn't look terrible here, but for me, this seems to be more ranging at the moment. It's not an easy day, is it? Dubai is coming to England. The weather certainly isn't, put it this way. We're expecting some snow today. Nothing at the moment. We have got some snow. Well, we were supposed to get some last night. I think this. Learn to manage your own money better. Do you know what it is for me? I don't want to say this crappy country because I love my country. My families and forefathers and all this sort of stuff grew up here, and my grandparents and my stepdad and my dad and all this. So I do love my country, but it's getting harder and harder and less enjoyable to live here. So I don't know. I like the idea of having a little bit of excitement in a warm country, doing something a bit different. I mean, I'm 56. I'm 56 now. So, I kind of want to enjoy, I don't want to say what time I got left. Trump's about, 25 years older than me, isn't he? He's running the country. So I certainly hope I've got plenty of time left. But I'd like to have a little bit of the exciting life, a little bit of a dynamic life. I've always more or less stayed in this country. We did move around as youngsters. I had a father and a stepfather in the army, so Cyprus was about the most exciting place we've been to. But there's something nice about moving abroad and moving to a warm climate. And even if we do that for a bit, I could certainly live comfortably just on what tax and national insurance I pay in the UK. So you could go over there, save a chunk of money, have a bit of a fun life, come back and then maybe kind of retire, in a 15, 20 years or something, come back to the UK, who knows? Uh, I'd just like to have a little bit of excitement just to say I've done it. I've turned from a bricklayer into a trader. I've learned, I've gone through all the crap. I'm earning a decent living and now I've moved abroad in the sun. Love the sound of that. You got Mexico. I nearly went to Mexico once. I would like to go. America, I've never been either. I don't know where I'd love to go next, to be honest with you. Italy, for me, I'd love to go. That's on my list. Italy, something I think you've got to go to Rome, haven't you, once in your life. But it's too cold. I don't know. A friend of mine asked me if I wanted to hire one of these camper vans and travel around Iceland next year. You can drive around it in a week, and you've got all the waterfalls and the geysers and the hot springs and the northern lights and all that sort of stuff. I watched Vladdy 4-hour video on your channel. Is it worth joining his Discord? How long you been training for, bud? Vietnamese islands. I know places in Asia are really cheap, aren't they? I travelled through Switzerland once when I was about 21 on a train. What I will say is it looked absolutely spectacular. It's supposed to be a really nice place to live. It's supposed to be very clean. I travelled on a train when I was 21 through Switzerland to Austria. I stopped at places like Geneva. I remember selling my mum some chocolates from there, but what I remember of Switzerland was lakes and mountains, and it just looked spectacular. But it's supposed to be a really lovely, clean place to live. Mind you, didn't Switzerland have a massive? Was it Switzerland or somewhere with that massive fire from fireworks? I can't remember now. Chris, how long you been trading for, bud? I haven't watched any more of Vlad's videos over Christmas. The trouble is, it's difficult for me because he does his about usual 3-hour session on a Friday from the openers. Now, on a Friday, I'm trading, so I need to focus on the trading. But then he does another 3-hour session on a Sunday. So what I like now is I've got that good balance between working and home life. So on a Sunday, I'm usually spend that with my family. We may go out for a walk. Sometimes we'll have a nice Sunday dinner together. So spending 3 hours on a Sunday, it's hard for me, really. I like to, because I'm working all week and focusing on week, and I'm watching videos and studying in the evenings. 7 years. Okay, part of the reason why I'm leaving is I don't think I can learn too much from him. But as a newer trader, I would say, as a patch trader, I would say, yeah. But if you're experienced, I don't know whether it would benefit you so much. He's a lovely guy, but, I think it's more aimed at more newer traders that trade pats. So for my personal opinion, 7 years, you've got quite a bit of experience there, bud. Now, if you are moving on to a completely different strategy, it may be okay. It may be okay. But for me, I've spoke to him quite a bit, and he's looked at my trades and trading, and, he said, what everything you're doing is fine. I know that now. I've been trading long enough to know how it works. So it's just the wrong hours for me. But if you're new to Pats, I don't think it'll do you any harm. Put it that way. Yeah, see, Chris, you've been trading longer than I have, mate. So, you'll have a good idea of how things work. The only thing you may be doing is moving to a different. I don't know how long you've been trading Patsy, so you'll know how the world works anyway when it comes to trading. I know some people it takes a long time, but I'm guessing a lot of that's down to do with more the psychological, and not only that. I've literally dedicated my whole life for the last 5 years. I know how many countless hours and nights I've been up learning and studying charts and watching videos, and just my whole life. Trading can kind of take over your whole life. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's kind of how it works to a degree. So, someone could be trading 5 years and have got more experience than someone's, trading 10 years. Because not only that, if you've got a full-time job, that sucks up a lot of your time as well. So it's not always that easy. I'm lucky in a way because I've had some money from affiliates. It's give me a small wage and enough wage to focus on trading kind of as close to full-time as you can, really. But if I'd have had to work as well, I wouldn't have been able to trade nowhere near as long. So I understand. And a lot of people, they'll trade for a few years. They may struggle. They'll walk away. They'll come back a year or two later and try again. So, it really does kind of vary from person to person. So we have got some buyers down here. I can't say that I would want to buy there because to me, this looks kind of very rangy. So I'd probably expect it to come down. I don't know. Maybe it won't. A little bit lower than that. I've seen no evidence that bloody can teach anything. Thomas Wade is better. Thomas Wade is a nice guy. He's good at what he does. I don't think you're going to do far wrong with Thomas Wade. I think the thing is with Vlad, he's a nice guy, but he's quite new to the Discord thing. So it's taken a little bit of time getting used to it and setting everything up. But for me, really, it's having the time. You guys know I obviously trade for a living, so I need to focus what I'm doing on a Friday. And then the weekends, I used to spend all my weekends studying and learning about trade and watching videos, but I learned it's good to have a break. So Sunday, 3 hours, it's hard for me. So unfortunately, the 2 times that he does sort of talk and teach, I'm a little bit tied up. So, but I've chatted to him. He phoned me up a couple of weeks ago, and we had a bit of a chat. He's a nice bloke. I know he came over a little bit loud and brash when we first met him, but when you talk to him, he's all right. I can't say there's much I can do here at the moment, really. It's just one of those days. It's going to take a little bit of time to kick in again, I think. My guess is it's coming down to the bottoms. It may come lower. I don't know, to be honest with you. You never know when it's doing this. You don't know whether it's going to push below or bounce and push up. And then we may have, it may turn into a big range day at the end. It may end up here. I don't know. The thing I like about Thomas Wade is he's quiet. He gets on with it. He doesn't spend. He has little chats. He puts his charts on regularly so you can see him, and then he gets on with it. That's what I like. He gets on with it. And another thing I think is important if you watch Thomas Wade is he shows his losses, and I think that's so valuable. Chris Lance, do you even bother with the Thomas Wade or Mac chart review? Absolutely. I watched them both. I'm on Thomas Wade's thing here. I watch every time Thomas Wade does one, I watch it. Every time Mac does one, I watch it. Personally, I mean, I don't feel any less experienced or more experienced than Thomas Wade. He's been trading longer than me for sure. He does take a few more losses, but he takes a lot more trades. I like him. I think it's important that someone shows you their losses because it's something that Mac never did. And you get into that mindset that something's not right. I've done something wrong if I've taken a loss. That's one of the first things that why I started watching Thomas Wade, because he doesn't mind. He's not ashamed or embarrassed to show you his losses, and he does it often. And I think that's valuable. So I think personally you get more out of, if you're brand new to Pats, I would go with Mac initially because it's cheap. And then when you've had a year with Mac, I would probably move on to Thomas Wade. I just, because he does his videos. Now, also as well, Dan, he's not trading at the moment. Dan's another nice guy. He's really experienced, Dan. He's very good at chart reading. And he does like a bar by bar thing, but I think he does it once a week. So either of those would be good. But yeah, Thomas Wade's a nice guy. He's really friendly, really polite. He's only ever been nice to me. He asked me if I wanted to have free access to his Discord. That's really nice, that is. So I said to him, is there anything I can do for you? And I put a little advert on there. I think it's good to have plenty of friends in this business. And I would class him as one of them for sure. I mean, there's no one I don't really get on with. I don't have any issues with anyone, to be fair. It can be a lonely old tough business, this. So I think the more friends you've got, the better. So possible second entry short. Would I take it? I'm not so sure. Because I've got buyers around about the 78.5. Just below 80. It's I've got buyers there, in fact. I've got buyers at 70 as well. So is this going to come down? It's hard to say because you can see we've got some support along there and here a bit, and we may have hit that. So I'll be a little bit cautious here. My guess is, if I had to guess, it probably will, but we've had 2 legs down. Now, we've had a little breakout at the top. Do I enjoy the UK? Absolutely. I think we're the luckiest of the lot. I do. Never have to get up early. When I was driving trucks years ago, I was at work at 4:30 a lot of the times in the morning. There's nothing work. And because I was sat my arse all day driving a truck, I walked to work. So I walked 2 miles there, 2 miles back. So, I'd walk 20 miles a week in freezing cold, horrible weather. God, I don't miss that. I think we're the luckiest. Now, there is a second entry short. That may come down. I'm sitting tight here because you just don't know. I don't think it's a bad trade, but we've had 2 legs down, and there is, if you look along here, there is a bit of support, so you've got to be a little bit careful. There are some buyers around there, so it may come down. I don't think it's a terrible trade. Just, there's something I'm not comfortable with. We've bounced a couple of times here and here again. So if I had to guess, it's probably going to come down, but I think the lower high would be a safer option. There is a higher low and a bull bar off here, and there are some buyers around about there. So a lower high for me would be a safer option. Excuse me, just 1 sec. I'm going to take a quick bathroom break. It does look like it's working. Trouble is, it's a little bit like this, isn't it? So it would have worked. It looked okay, yeah. I'm just around here, isn't it? So it just makes me a bit nervous. We'd had 2 legs down, 2 legs up. Is there a larger channel down there? Maybe, yeah, perhaps there's something larger. Yeah, someone else has just put that wider channel there as well. Trouble is, we're kind of pushed up and bounced along that midline. You can see there's support there. That just makes me a bit nervous as this is kind of technically played out. It's one of those things, isn't it? 2 legs down. How far did it go? Yeah, so it went enough. Not only that, if you like this channel, it doesn't look terrible. We got 2 legs down. You never quite know. You got a higher low there. Leg and a leg. What do you do? So there is a lower high there, but I don't like it. So let's take this down here. We've still got orders at 70 and 65 down below. So is price going to come down? We get a second leg up here. Second entry short up here. We'll see. So There's a higher low there that triggers and pushes up. We've got 2 attempts push. I'd like to get above there. So there's not a huge amount of sellers up there. There's some around the 6, uh, which is a bit above there. So if we can get above there, I'm not taking this one. It needs to push a bit higher for me. I'm hoping it does. Yeah, 85. So there are sellers at 85, which is above there. In fact, it might be a touch higher. Let's say 5.25. I'd like to just push that little bit higher. So if we get a second entry long that triggers, we may get a failure. It's hard to say. 1 minute looks like it's going up. Next minute, now it's looking like it's coming down. So we've got this big 2 legs down. We've got 2 attempts to push higher, and it is likely it's going to push lower. So if we can get a pullback and get a triple test, we may get a move down. I don't know whether we will or not, to be honest with you. I'm hoping we do. Okay, I think I'm going to knock it on the head, folks. How long have I been going for? 3 hours 40. I've done about 45 minutes on before stream as well. So not a brilliant day today. Didn't look too bad there. I was just concerned with this amount of support here and 2 legs down. I didn't have it as a wider channel, so there we go. And not the easiest of days, but it does seem to be picking up. So we'll be back on Monday. So have a great weekend. You're welcome, mate. Have a great weekend. And I'll be back on Monday. We've got a US holiday coming up later in the month, I think. So I'm going to leave you guys to it. Have a fantastic weekend. Best of luck if you're carrying on trading. Stay safe. And we'll catch up on Monday. Happy New Year. Bye for now.